HD1 and HD2 Kansas City and Odyssey Sports Station.
Nobody in Kansas City has sports like 96.5 The Fan.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City, a 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited, thrilled, delighted to be here with you on this. Is today a Red Friday? It's Friday, but the Chiefs don't play this weekend. So I don't know what today is, but I'm happy to be here with you. Carrington here, Rob here, taking you up until 6 o'clock. K-State fan. We had so much fun talking about K-State. We have called up another K-State person. Yesterday, we had Tim Fitzgerald on the show. Today, John Kurtz will be on the show. John Kurtz will be on the show coming up in 45 minutes. We will talk Kansas State football with him. That's how excited we are about the Wildcats. I told you, I have put down the Missouri Tigers. They have wasted too much of my time and your time this college football season. We are a K-State household on this show. We are not talking KU football anymore. We might talk a little bit of basketball. They play North Carolina coming up in a couple of days, but we are a K-State household on this show. We also are going to be joined in studio by Nate Taylor. Nate Taylor is going to be on the show coming up in exactly 2 hours. We'll have a little bit of fun. We might have some Halloween spillover today, too. And I do have a very important question to ask you guys about the final 2 months of the year. We will get to that. We'll get to a lot of other things between now and then. I appreciate you guys listening and making us a part of your day. We will get to very serious sports things after we give you a chance to win a pizza.
Pizza time on The Drive. Carrington, dial me up right now. Caller number 6, 913-586-7965. They win a pizza from our friends over at Pizza Tassio. Pizza Tassio is Kansas City's best New York-style pizza, and they have taken over the town. They got locations all around this city: Waldo, Belton, North KC, OP, and Midtown. They have a killer selection of craft and local beers, plus unique wines. So whether you're hungry enough for a whole pie or just want a slice or two, be sure to visit them now at pizzatassio.com. That's pizzatassio.com.
All right, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day on 96.5 The Fan, also on the Odyssey app. I also need you to tell one friend. I don't need you to tell two friends, but I need you to tell one friend to be sure to keep it locked in right here on 96.5 The Fan. All right, I want to do an update. You know how sometimes you'll download a new operating system for your phone and then a couple of days later they'll hit you with the update? Let's update a couple of things. Now, Rob, if you can you hit me with a little bit of sad music? Because it wasn't that long ago that, at least on this show, we buried the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we buried the Baltimore Ravens in respect to their ability to be the 1 seed in the AFC. They are 4 games back of the Kansas City Chiefs. So, coming up in about 2 months or so, Baltimore is going to be going on the road to play Kansas City. And if they're not too careful, they could be going on the road to play Buffalo and on the road to play Kansas City. And given Baltimore's track record in these kind of things, that does not sound good. So we have already had our moment of silence for the Baltimore Ravens 1 seed chances. That's out of the question. I have already gone ahead and made it my point, and I've taken it upon myself to kick dirt on the Cincinnati Bengals. They are done. Now, you know what? The Jets, I believe the Jets are done, and I'm not going to let Thursday night football fool me, but the Jets showed a little bit of life in the casket. We might have to dig the body back up because maybe our autopsy was a little bit off here. I thought the Jets were 100% done. Right now, I am willing to say the Jets are 98% done. I'm still not a Jets believer, but sometimes you got to do amendments to these things. But I still wholeheartedly and firmly believe that the Jets are done. I've already dug up a plot. I've already started to clear the space so one team can lay beside them and that is the team that the Jets played on Thursday Night Football. It is the Houston Texans. Now, I want to be clear. Houston is a good team. Houston's going to win 10, maybe 11 games this year. Houston's probably going to win that sad division that they're in the AFC South. I still like their quarterback, and we'll talk about some of his struggles coming up momentarily. But this is not an indictment that I think Houston is a bad team. No. But there is a difference between being a good team and a potentially great team. It looks like the Lions have taken that step. We certainly know that Kansas City has taken that step. We've seen San Francisco take that step. We saw the Rams a couple of years ago take that step. There is a difference to me between being a 10-win team and a 13 or 14-win team. There is a difference between being a playoff team and a Super Bowl contending team. And I am here to report to you, my dear friends, that Houston is not a Super Bowl contending team. We've seen half the season now. I've seen a lot of Houston Texans football. I've seen them play good teams. I've seen them play bad teams and teams in the middle. Houston cannot win the Super Bowl. They can't block. Every time I look back, their quarterback is running for his life. Their offensive line is terrible. So I'm telling you right now that we got the sad music playing because we have already dug up the grave for another AFC team. The Houston Texans, their Super Bowl hopes, they're dead. That's not a team that can win the Super Bowl. Too banged up, too injured, can't block. That is not a Super Bowl team. You're not beating Buffalo in the postseason with that offensive line. You're not beating Baltimore in the postseason with that offensive line. And you are certainly not beating Kansas City with that offensive line. Chris Jones will have a field day. George Karlaftis will have a field day. Josh Uche will have a field day against that offensive line. So I would just like to go ahead and tell you guys that after watching Thursday Night Football, I am ready to go ahead and hereby decree the Houston Texans are no longer a Super Bowl contending team. We can cross one team off, another team off in the AFC. It's Kansas City. It is Buffalo. It is Baltimore. It is the same teams that we thought it was going to be at the very beginning of the season. Those are the only teams that have a legitimate shot of coming out of the AFC.
We said on the show yesterday, we said basically throughout the show yesterday, when we weren't talking Halloween, we were talking about this. It was a prove-it game for Houston and C.J. Stroud. Because do you know who I know doesn't lose that game? The Chiefs. They might not have their wide receivers. They might not have Juju. They might not have Hollywood Brown. They would not have Rashee Rice. They would not be a dog, and they would not lose to the Jets. The Buffalo Bills. I know Chiefs fans like to get their jokes off at Josh Allen's expense, and they somehow hate him, this, that, and the other. But if Josh Allen didn't have Amari Cooper, you know what he would do? He would go on the road and beat the Jets on a short week. He'd have no problem doing it. Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson, take your pick from the AFC North. They win that football game. I have no doubt they beat the Jets. The Texans couldn't do it. C.J. Stroud did not look good in the game. And as much as me and you argue back and forth about weaponry and how much it matters, a team like the Jets that is 2-6, it should not be the difference between losing and winning. The difference should not be Nico Collins. Stephon Diggs is not an 11-point player. That offense was awful, and it is not just weaponry. They can't block. They can't do anything right. C.J. Stroud looked lost at times. That's the player I saw play in Ann Arbor. Bad football. That's the player I saw play at home against Jim Harbaugh and get boat raced. C.J. Stroud showed last night, and the Houston Texans showed last night, that, hey, we thought they had taken the step up in the offseason. Hey, they brought Stephon Diggs in. They're ready to join the same weight class as the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens. Nope. They are still a welterweight. They get a title. AFC South champs, great. But if you get matched up with one of the big dogs, one of the heavyweights, no. You're not in the same tier as these teams. Chiefs fans, if we polled 100 Chiefs fans on the plaza right now, do you fear the Texans in the postseason? 99% would say no. The Bills would get 60% no, but there are fans who would still be scared of the Bills. That is not the case with the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I think you and I are maybe on opposite sides, at least when it comes to C.J. Stroud. I actually think that C.J. Stroud has played fairly well this year. I think the infrastructure around C.J. Stroud is actually in pretty rough shape. So for, I guess, a comparison, Did you know that C.J. Stroud has been the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year? The only quarterback who has been sacked more times than him this season has been Deshaun Watson. C.J. Stroud has been sacked 30 times this season over the first 9 games. And if you go by sack yardage, it is minus 229. That's like a wide receiver on your team. So for a quarterback who has a pretty decent completion percentage, it's 64%, for a guy who is averaging 7 yards per an attempt, and a quarterback right now that has a 92 quarterback rating, I actually think that C.J. Stroud has played pretty well. And this is why I hate a lot of the conversation that we want quarterbacks to do it without pieces, but then when they get pieces, we then penalize them for it, but then they struggle when they don't have pieces. And it is so backwards in logic. The Houston Texans' problem is they have not properly invested and built an offensive line to keep their quarterback upright. And if you can't do that in today's game, or really at any point in NFL history, you just don't have a chance of being sustainable and doing that consistently against good teams. Certainly not teams like Kansas City that can get after the quarterback. Certainly not against teams like Pittsburgh that are pretty stout defensively that could beat you. Denver is a capable defensive team. That's going to be Houston's downfall, is their interior, their offensive line is just really bad. And at least for me, I have kind of talked about the AFC like it's Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Houston. I can't do that anymore. I have to cross Houston off the list and just focus in on those 3 teams, the teams that have experience, the teams that have capable offensive lines, the teams that are balanced both running the football and throwing the football. I think we know who the teams that can represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, and I just don't think that Houston is one of those teams. Pittsburgh is one of those teams. I don't think the Jets are turning things around and putting themselves in the conversation. Cincinnati, I think at the midway point of the NFL season, we know the 3 teams in the AFC, and it comes down to who's healthy, who plays well at the end of the season, and ultimately, who is willing to step up between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and who can finally beat Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage. Lamar has taken his swing, he's missed. Josh Allen has taken a swing, and he also has missed. We will see who can take their swing in January against the champs, and we'll see if one of those teams can knock them off. Coming up on the other side, let's talk a little bit of college football, also get to the big NFL game of the weekend. We got Penn State, Ohio State. We also have the Lions and the Packers. We're celebrating football here, even though the Chiefs don't play until Monday. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The NFL continues on, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Some of my favorite bets on FanDuel are, I like to take what I consider to be micro bets. You can bet on first quarter action. It gets you off to a good start, and it can increase your bankroll as the game progresses. I love who's going to get a first catch, first half, over, under. You can also make your favorite same-game parlays, or you can play some of the pre-built ones right there on the app, and there's always a fun boost to increase the action. All you need to do is visit the app. Check out FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help us your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 50 Highway and Chipman Road in Lee Summit on Friday, November 1st. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait, this rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan's Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan silver dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Americans treasure owning silver bars and coins, putting them away for themselves and their loved ones. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. You'll be glad you did. Hurry, don't miss out on this special deal. Save $10 per silver bar. The more you buy, the more you save. Limit of 25 bars per customer. Call to learn more. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan silver dollar. That's a $59.95 value and free shipping. Call 1-800-222-3967 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan silver dollar bars. That's 1-800-222-3967.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double hot, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Hey, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Well, I do now.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
Did you say you're cutting me off?
You earn, we match. Unlimited cashback match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. Carrington here, Rob here, taking you up until 6 o'clock. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to have Nate Taylor of The Athletic join us on the show. Coming up in about 30 minutes or so, we're going to take a trip to Manhattan, Kansas, to be joined by John Kurtz. Let's get into a little bit of NFL. We got the Lions and the Packers in the marquee NFC game of the weekend. So I'm looking at this Lions team as a legitimate and true Super Bowl contending team. This is a Lions team that I think has certainly proven itself over the course of the last year and a half or so, and it's certainly worthy of being in that conversation. They now find themselves, I would say, in the middle of the most entertaining fight in all of the National Football League if you're looking at the NFC North and where we currently sit. So in the NFC North, Detroit is 6-1. The Packers are 6-2. Now, I remember, where's our guy Sean Barber? Because, Rob, you sat there and Sean Barber gave me a lot of grief about picking the Packers to be the 1 seed in the NFC. Well, what if I told you right now that the Packers, if they win on Sunday, they would then be in line to be the 1 seed in the NFC? So I want some apologies from you guys, 913-586-7965. But Detroit is at 6-1. Green Bay is at 6-2. Minnesota is at 5-2. And Minnesota beat Green Bay on the road earlier this season. and Chicago is sitting at 4-3. I don't see Chicago yet as a team that I think can win the division. Chicago is also 0-3 on the road. If you can't figure out a way to get road wins, it's just going to be hard for you to get the necessary wins that you're going to have to win that division. But Detroit, to me, looks like the only certainty or the only sure thing in the NFC. I think that Green Bay is right there knocking on the door. This is a very, very important kind of statement game, I would say, for both sides, Green Bay and Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll apologize. I was going back and forth on the text line, and we were talking about Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and they said, Rob, it's November 1st. And then it dawned on me, Carrington, I screwed up the open of the show. I was busy. I was on Cody and Gold. I was part of the fan club. I was talking to Bink. I was talking to Gold. And I lost it. I lost track of everything. This should have happened 20 minutes ago, and I apologize. But do you know what today is, Carrington? It's the start of the Christmas season.
What's happening right now? We were trying to have a conversation about the Lions and the Packers.
It's snowing in Minnesota. The weather's about to turn. I don't know if you've seen, sales are starting right now, baby. Get that pumpkin spice out of my life. It's peppermint season. You want to know why it's peppermint season? Christmas time is here. Are you getting your tree up this weekend? There's no college football to watch. Once Penn State, Ohio State's done, it's 2:30. That's tree time.
We were trying to have a conversation about the Lions and the Packers.
The Packers
trying to talk sports on our sports talk show.
The
and
Packers,
you had to derail it with Cole's music. You had to derail it with the Urban Outfitters playlist is what you had to do. All right. Can you fade the music down just a bit?
Let's have a serious. It's so good.
Let's have a serious conversation about this. A serious conversation. I feel like I'm starting to have more of these old people takes on this show. I really feel like I'm starting to have more of these. And maybe it's just par for the course. I'm closer to 40 than I am 30, you know? So maybe I'm just going to have more of these old guy takes. How do we go from the 12 days of Christmas to now 2 months of Christmas? On the first day of, that's what it used to be when I was a kid. Christmas was the 12 days of Christmas. Maybe it started the 1st of December. You know, you might watch a little ABC Family. They'll have a Christmas movie on every single day. That was Christmas when I was a kid. When did the moment that you throw your jack-o'-lantern out, when did you start to put Christmas lights up? When did you start to put a Christmas tree up and start listening to Christmas music? You guys are telling me that you got 2 months of Christmas music in you? How many times do you have to hear last Christmas you gave her your heart and the very next day she turned it away because she's tired of hearing that song? I feel bad for those of you that have to work in retail. Not because you got to deal with mean-spirited people, because by the time we get to November 19th, you will have heard that Mariah Carey song 31 times, and you still got another 40 days to go. You guys tell me how long the NBA season is. It ain't as long as the Christmas season. It isn't. Not even close to as long as the Christmas season. When did Christmas become a 2-month thing for us to celebrate? You want to know when Christmas starts? I'm going to tell you. Christmas starts after your Thanksgiving nap. Christmas starts after the Cowboys game. Christmas starts when Clark Hunt turns on the plaza lights. That is the official start to Christmas. Not November 1st. You were just watching Saw yesterday. Now you're watching Elf? No. I can't do this. I can't do it. I just want to know why Christmas is taking so long. Why it's 2 months. Someone says, C-Dot, you hate Christmas. No, I don't hate Christmas. I love Christmas. I just don't want 50 days of it. It's November 1st. You're telling me Christmas doesn't end until December 25th? No, I don't have it. I'm sorry. I'm all for, let's give Christmas 30 days. It doesn't need 51 days. No.
It needs 60.
That's my rant.
It needs as long of a run-up as we can get. If you want my honest answer, like not even like being super Christmas guy answer, you want to know why it happened? When we were kids, you know what Black Friday was? You'd go wait in line. You'd have to run into the store to get your item. Nowadays, everyone online shops. Everyone's on Amazon.com. And you know what they've done? They've extended those Black Friday deals through all of November. So you know what people's mindset is on November 11th or November 12th? It's Christmas shopping. And if you're Christmas shopping, you might as well get in the holiday spirit. Get your peppermint whatever from Starbucks. Head to Kohl's and make sure you hear Mariah Carey. Thanksgiving doesn't have songs. Thanksgiving doesn't have movies. Thanksgiving doesn't have a feel. So let's just burn right through it and start the Christmas season early. I mean, I don't know about your Facebook. My Facebook is polluted with people looking up, hey, here are the Christmas events I'm going to, and they're tapping interested in. I know about all the Christmas lights around the city now because that's what happens on November 1.
The text line is saying, stop being the Grinch, stop being Scrooge. I just don't know when. I want to know when the shift was. I just want to know when the shift was. When I was a kid, we were not drinking pumpkin spice lattes at the end of August. Now, we just start drinking pumpkin spice lattes on August 17th. I just want to know when Christmas became a 57-day activity. That's all I want to know. I just want to know. Christmas is longer than the baseball playoffs. I just want to know why. We keep the baseball playoffs nice and condensed. October. That's it. That's it. That's all I want to know. I don't have any other questions about Christmas. Hey, if you are happy that Christmas is here, I'm happy that Christmas is here. I love Christmas. I get all my Christmas in right after Black Friday. That's it. After Black Friday, I'll get all the Christmas I need in. I'll watch a little Home Alone. I'll watch a little Christmas Story. Give me a little eggnog. Give me a little Yuletide Carol. I'm not starting Yuletide Carol today. No, there's still leaves outside. It's still fall. Christmas is a winter activity. Winter, not fall.
It's supposed to be cold and rainy this weekend. That feels like hot chocolate with a little bit of Bailey's. That has that Christmas feel.
That's the Christmas feel.
I'll put a little sprinkle of peppermint in
there. We haven't even got past the election yet. We're already celebrating Christmas. Let's at least vote first before we start celebrating Christmas.
The minute that Dodgers player put the ball in his back pocket, it was Christmas season.
You gonna tell me how you got a presidential campaign in the yard and you got a snowman in the yard? Nah, bro, you can't have both. You got to make that decision right now. You got to make a pick on which one you want in the yard. Can we talk a little football now? Have you got your Christmas?
Fine.
Do you want a little bit more Christmas music? Go ahead. I'll give you one more Christmas song. You want another Christmas song?
Let me just finish my girl Mariah's song.
My bad. I'll be quiet. I'll hush.
I mean, I saw her live last year. Fire.
Sure it was.
She played music I've never heard of, but she also played the Christmas songs.
She probably played very popular songs. Like, well, hold on. She played the other American Mariah Carey, didn't she?
Oh, there was a line of demarcation.
She played the other version of Mariah Carey.
She played songs I never heard of. Me and my wife sat down. What is this? This is not all I want for Christmas is you. And then she played that, and my America stood up. Woohoo!
Thrilled. Thrilled. All right. We're done. We're finished.
It's going to be hit number 1 today. It's Christmas time.
Someone said, "C-Dot, have you voted yet?" Yes, I actually voted earlier today.
See? Perfect. Election's over.
I already went out and voted earlier today.
You've already pushed through it.
I'm done. I voted yes on question 2. That's all I'm willing to tell you. I voted yes on question 2. I'm tired of driving over to Kansas to place those sports bets. I hate it on Sunday morning. God, I got to get up. Then I hate it. It really screws you on both ends of it. It honestly screws you. Because then you got to wake up in the morning to go over to Kansas. Then after the Chiefs play at 3:25, I got to drive over there again for Sunday Night Football. It's too much. No, just let me do it here at home. I can go play craps down the street. I can go play blackjack down the street, but I can't bet if the Chiefs are going to win. It's too much. I voted yes. That's all I'm willing to tell you I voted on. I voted yes on question 2. I would encourage you to do the same. Vote yes. Question 2.
There have been one or 2 ads have run on this station promoting that.
Yeah, that's it. I voted yes on question 2. I want you to go do the exact same. Can we get back to talking about the Lions and the Packers? That's what I thought we were doing here. We were talking Lions and
let's
Packers
talk Lions.
here. You know I like the Packers. You know I picked them to be the 1 seed in the NFC. I feel like I've been proven right. When they've been healthy and had Jordan Love, they've been good. Now, Jordan Love is never healthy. It's always something with him. It's a knee thing. It's an ankle thing. It's always something with Jordan Love. But they got a big game this weekend at home against the Lions. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. They're really the only team that I really trust right now in the NFC, to be completely honest with you. Green Bay's probably on the outside of that. It's crazy because in the AFC, I would say that Kansas City is on a group of its own. I would say that the Lions are also that same way in the NFC, but that is just more because there's no other team that you would say right now is trustworthy in the NFC. Where in the AFC, I like Buffalo, I like Baltimore. They're on a different tier than Kansas City, but obviously for very different reasons than why Green Bay hasn't proven they're on the same tier as the Lions.
I think the Lions have shown that they are undoubtedly the best team in the NFC. And at this point, I think, now a lot can change between now and the postseason, but at this point, it would be a surprise if someone other than the Lions came out of the NFC. They look like the bully of that league. I know they have lost games. I get that. I know they lost Aiden Hutchinson. And I think they will address that problem between now and the trade deadline on Tuesday. I've seen, people talking about, they're going to get Max Crosby, Chase Young, whomever. I think they will fix that problem. But they are playing incredible football. They have a ton of weaponry. They have a quarterback playing exceptionally well. And if they add a pass rusher, that defense is very strong. And at this point, November 1, what you want to see as a football fan is Chiefs-Lions. That Lions offense against that Chiefs defense is going to be sensational television. And I know that the Packers are a part of a really good NFC North. And basically everyone in the NFC North is good. But the Packers do not feel like they're in the same class as the Lions, which is crazy for people our age who grew up watching football to say, because it was the Packers, the rest of the division, 10 feet of crap, the Lions in the NFC North. But now, even if Jordan Love was 100% healthy, I think you would still pick the Lions to go into Lambeau and take care of business, because they are just running through the NFC, and no one looks like they can stop that behemoth.
I will say this, and I think that the Lions are a really good example for other teams in the league. You know how I say that teams take on the personality of their leader? Is there any team, and this includes the Chiefs, is there any team that you feel in the NFL has better taken on the personality of their leader than what Detroit has with their head coach? Think about what you just said about Detroit and what they have been for basically our entire life. No one has been able to consistently turn the Lions around until Dan Campbell got there. And he was a hire that a lot of us mocked, and it didn't really make a lot of sense. He was New Orleans' tight end coach, and he got hired as the head coach for the Detroit Lions. Oh, same old Lions. This hire doesn't make any sense. They're just throwing darts at a dartboard. He's instantly come in and changed the feeling and mindset and culture around the Detroit Lions. And this is a team that I would say more so than any team this side of Kansas City, they just beat you up. I think I saw a stat a couple of days ago that no team that played the Lions won the next week so far this season. That's what the Steelers used to do to you. That's what the Ravens used to do to you. You would go in a game against them, they would beat you up, and you needed a couple of weeks to recover physically. They run the ball really well with two great running backs with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They have an incredible passing attack. You think that Jared Goff has a legitimate shot to win NFL MVP. This is the Lions team that has really established a culture. They have become something over the course of the last year and a half, and I think they're the most fun team to watch in the league. Sure, the Chiefs win more than the Lions do, but we can admit the Chiefs really aren't a fun brand of football to watch. Not throwing the ball over the field, just outscoring people, not really beating people up in that way. They're more technical, Floyd Mayweather style. Saw someone make that comparison. And the Lions have been a team with a big knockout punch, a team that can score a lot of points, throw the ball around the yard. The Lions have been a really, really fun team to watch. Let's talk about the top game in college football this weekend between Ohio State and also Penn State. I'll start with this question. Who do you think this weekend is more important for? Do you think it's Ohio State's coach and Ryan Day, or do you think it's James Franklin at Penn State? Who needs this win more out of those two coaches?
Whew, that's a great question because both of them have the knock of failing to win the big one. I think the answer is Ryan Day needs it more because if Ohio State loses, Ohio State's path to not only just the winning the college football playoff, but making the playoff gets hazy. And for a year that everyone felt Ohio State was head and shoulders above everyone else coming into the season, they have the new quarterback. They had brought the best transfer portal running back in. They have the star freshman wideout. They have the sexy offensive coordinator hire in Chip Kelly. They had a schedule that was favorable. They played a non-con of no one. Like, I remember you had Phil Steele on, and we talked to him about it, and you said the only team you can for sure guarantee is a playoff team right now is Ohio State. If you have all those expectations and they get met with another flop, the Ohio State people don't take kindly to that kind of thing. And the locals were getting restless last year with Ryan Day after a couple Michigan losses. If he fails to make the college football playoff, which could happen with a loss Saturday, he might be on the hot seat. So I think Ryan Day needs it more because I think his fan base, athletic department is more itchy to make a move.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think it's Ryan Day in this matchup as well for a lot of the reasons that you just gave. If you're Ohio State and you've already lost so far this season, so you went on the road and you lost to Oregon, and now you go on the road and you lose to Penn State. I mean, we talk a lot about resume, and certainly you would feel that the Ohio State brand would get them into the college football playoff. They don't really have a lot of impressive wins either. Now, they play Indiana at the end of the season. We'll see if Indiana is still undefeated when you beat them. And you have Michigan at the end of the year, but Michigan is not its usual self. I mean, Ohio State's schedule and their resume, it's going to be kind of light if they lose this game on the road to Penn State. And for a year in which they have invested very heavily in the transfer portal, I'm guessing it was a pretty expensive year if you were Ohio State. It costs a lot of money to go get Will Howard. If you're going to go get one of the top quarterbacks out of the transfer portal, that is at least 7-figure salary. Will Howard is making very good money to be the quarterback at Ohio State. You also you got Judkins, the running back from Ole Miss, so you spent a lot of money on him. This is a team that they spent a lot of money out there in NIL, and if you were telling me that you're going to be heading in potentially to your final 4 games and you feel that you are on shaky ground when it comes to the college football playoff, it is not going to be good. It's funny because both coaches kind of have the same stigma around them. James Franklin has not won a single big game his entire time at Penn State. They have consistently lost this game. And Ohio State, they don't really have a good track record of winning this kind of game either. On the road against a top opponent, I believe Ryan Day is 3-9 in these games, and you lost your other big game earlier this year to Oregon. I actually think Penn State's going to win this game. I think that Penn State has been more consistent out of these two teams. I think that Penn State has been better out of these two teams. I'm picking Penn State to win this week. They're a slight underdog in this, given the fact that they're at home. They're a 4-point underdog, maybe 3.5-point underdog, depending on where you get your number. I think Penn State is going to, it sounds crazy, say pull off the upset because they're ranked higher than Ohio State and they're also at home. But I think that the Nittany Lions are winning this weekend.
I agree with you. And now let's have the conversation about what happens if Ohio State loses. They a playoff team? Because you laid it out. They have the brand. They absolutely have the brand. But if you're going to ding teams for not playing good non-conference opponents, boy, do we have to ding Ohio State. They played no one in the non-con, like less than no one. They played very, very cupcakey schedule. And the 2 games that have been tough on their schedule, now they still have 2 tough games left. The 2 tough games that have been on their schedule, you took L's in both. Man, if Indiana's a 1-loss team, if, Oregon or Penn State end as a 1-loss team, now Texas, Georgia gets back into the fold, Tennessee, there's a lot of Notre Dame, A&M, there's a lot of teams that 1-2-loss category that schedules are arguably better. Are the Buckeyes a playoff team if they lose?
I think they're going to be for this reason. Now, let's see how they potentially lose in your scenario. Do they lose on a last-second field goal? Is it a Hail Mary? Is it a close, well-contested game? It's just going to be hard, I think, to convince a lot of people like myself that you have a 12-team playoff. Ohio State lost in a last-second fashion on the road to Oregon, and they lost on the road to Penn State, two teams that we think are in the playoff. And now we don't think that Ohio State is worthy of being one of the 7 at-large teams. So I think it's going to be really hard to keep the name, the brand, and the talent, especially because if those are their 2 losses. Now, at some point, it does have to signify who you beat, and there's not a lot of great teams left on their schedule. I just find it hard to believe that they would leave them out. Let me ask you this question. If it comes down to a 2-loss Ohio State and a 1-loss Notre Dame will not have a lot of great wins either, and they haven't played nearly the schedule that we think Ohio State. They don't have at Oregon on their schedule or at Penn State on there. So there's going to be a lot of questions coming up in a month or so about who should get into the playoff and who's not going to get into the playoff, and it's going to be some very interesting debates, but debating these things are kind of the purpose of college football. Coming up on the other side, speaking of the playoff, let's head to Manhattan, Kansas to be joined by John Kurtz. K-State has 4 games left in the regular season. Can they do this thing? Can they win the Big 12? We'll find out. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheet Metal Workers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymokenschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Well, we got a busy Saturday of college football and also with the pros, and there's no better place to catch up with all of the weekend football action than with my friends over at the other place. We also got basketball going on as well. So if you want to catch up with all your sports, also have a beer, also catch the game, the other place is the perfect place to do so. And they got great game day specials like a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12, and a $4 domestic cup. It's the next best thing to being at the stadium with an incredible game day atmosphere. They also got brunch now. So be sure to stop by the other place at any of the Area 5 locations. It's your home for all things football.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. This year, I get to host, and Hy-Vee's going to make it convenient for me. They have made fresh, ready-to-heat and serve favorites like succulent turkey, honey-glazed spiral ham, prime rib, savory side dishes, and dessert. Hy-Vee's Taste of the Holidays event is coming up Saturday, November 2nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can sample all of the amazing ready-to-serve meal pack options or just get a little holiday inspiration. This holiday season, let Hy-Vee do the cooking while you take the credit, only at Hy-Vee.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
It's time to review the top 3 highlights of the day. I'm joined as always by my co-anchor Snoop.
Hey, what up, though?
Snoop, number 1 has to be getting the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence at T-Mobile.
Yeah, you should hustle down to T-Mobile like a dog chasing a squirrel chasing a nut.
Nice analogy, Snoop. Dogs do love to chase squirrels.
And squirrels love to chase those nuts.
On to highlight number 2, at T-Mobile, families can save 20% every month versus the other big guys.
That is very impressive. You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing with my savings, Snoop. Now, take it away, Snoop.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on them. Now drop that jingle.
The 24-monthly bill credits eligible trade-in on Go 5G Next. Well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreement too. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025 if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at Robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at Robinhood.com/election.
This afternoon, expect sunny skies with a high of 62.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Let's head to Manhattan, Kansas to be joined by John Kurtz. He is the host of the Three Mall podcast, who covers the Kansas State Wildcats. John Kurtz, can you please tell all of your Wildcat friends that we had a K-State guest on 2 days in a row? We treating you guys like you're the Chiefs or something.
I'm not going to lie. I was just talking to Rob a second ago. I was like, K-State Houston game really like popping off in these streets, man. Like people are excited about K-State Houston. I'm impressed. I am pleasantly surprised.
You thought I was going to ask you about the Houston Cougars on this show? You've listened to this show before. You thought that was going to come up?
Hey man, I don't know. You know, I saw Donovan Smith at one point mocked in the first round. He's not even their starting quarterback anymore. So I don't know.
Right now we're talking to our guy John Kurtz here. All right, Kurtz, this is what I want to get your opinion on. You know college football the way that I know college football. And there are 5 games this weekend where there is a ranked opponent that is going on the road. Ole Miss is going on the road to Arkansas. Oregon is going on the road to Michigan, Indiana, and Michigan State, Texas A&M, South Carolina, and you guessed it, your K-State Wildcats against Houston. Are you worried at all, just a little bit, that K-State could catch the upset bug?
Mildly. You know, I mean, I think situationally there's a lot of stuff that lines up and makes sense as to why people in this spot would look at it and say, okay, like keep your eye on this because one, K-State is coming off of a pretty emotional game. I mean, they had to spend a lot of emotional energy to win that game against Kansas. And then next week they've got a bye. So, you know, this is a spot where it's like, all right, you go play this game against a team that is not very good, toward the bottom of the Big 12 standings. There's not going to be many people there. It's going to be a really dull atmosphere. Like, just roll in there, get your win, and you get a rest week. So I can see how you'd look at that and say, situationally, this doesn't feel like a great spot for the Cats. I just don't know that Houston has enough to really fully take advantage of that. You know, I mean, you saw them play Kansas. Obviously, they didn't look very good there, and that's a Kansas team that just went toe-to-toe with K-State. If you figure they're at worst, you know, kind of on an even playing field based on what they are right now, transitive properties dangerous in college football, but I just don't know that Houston has the offense to really keep up. Their defense is okay. You know, you look at them in the Big 12, they're kind of middle of the pack, maybe middle upper. And probably it's fair to say their offense has been so bad that defense would be better if paired with a competent offense. But, yeah, I don't know. They can't throw the ball. All they can really do is run it a little bit. Zion Chris has been a little better than Donovan Smith at quarterback, but it's just a rebuilding program that's in the early stages of a rebuild. And, you know, if you're TCU level, you're capable of like a horrific TCU performance, which they are because they turn the ball over a ton, and you can lose. You know, TCU did at home to Houston, but I think K-State's got way too much. Houston beat TCU and Utah, two teams that have either a completely erratic offense or no offense at all, and I just don't think that fits what K-State is right now.
If you had to hand that upset token to another team in college football, who would you hand it to? Because you and I both know one of these ranked opponents is losing. Like if you did a 5-team just money line parlay, you are not cashing that parlay. One of those 5 teams are losing. You don't think it's K-State, perfectly fine. Let's say you're going to hand that to Texas A&M, or you're going to hand it to Ole Miss or Oregon. Who would you hand it to? Who do you think out of that group is going down this weekend?
Honestly, and I like this team. Actually, I still think that they very well could make the playoff even with this, but I think Texas A&M's in a lot of trouble. I think that's a tough spot. South Carolina's been really good. I mean, they should have won that LSU game. They really did. I don't like to be, hey, the officials, you know, cost a team a game guy, but they really did cost South Carolina that game back toward the beginning of the year. Texas A&M just came off a huge win at home. They're riding high. Now you got to go on the road to a team that has been probably a bit undervalued because they just haven't quite come through in moments like that against LSU when they really should have. And South Carolina's a tough place to play, man. That's a really underrated atmosphere. I've had enough people in SEC country talk about how good that atmosphere can be at Williams-Brice that I think a night game there is kind of a hornet's nest that Texas A&M is walking into. So for a lot of the situational stuff that I just lined up about K-State Houston, I think it applies to A&M South Carolina, but South Carolina has enough substance to actually get over the hump there and win the game.
Right now, we're talking to John Kurtz of the 3 Mall Podcast, talking a little college football, talking a little K-State. John, what's the biggest, I guess, point of growth that you've seen from the Wildcats from week 1 to now?
Probably just their poise and like ability to battle through adversity, because that was really the problem at BYU was once things started going wrong, they just kept going wrong and it completely snowballed. And now this team has proven twice, both at Colorado and then against Kansas, that when they face some adversity, they can put up a wall and move forward. That's Colorado. I mean, they're leading basically the entire game, totally in control, and all of a sudden you snap your fingers and it's gone, and they need a drive with 2 minutes to go in the game, and they do it in 3 plays. Take the lead, then the defense gets a stop. And then against Kansas, you know, I mean, I would say they probably got outplayed, certainly very close to it, and late in the game, they find a way, man. They need a play. They force the fumble on Jalen Daniels. Even if the offense didn't move it as much as you'd like to, they get a 51-yard field goal, and then the defense continued what it did all fourth quarter, which was stop Kansas and be able to send a lot of pressure. So I just feel like they have more ways to beat you now. Obviously, the development of the passing game is a part of that. You know, that's how you can kind of move past that now. If you get buried like you did at BYU, felt like at the time they didn't really have the passing game to get back into it. Now they do, and Avery Johnson's gotten better there, but they're also just more poised and not letting that stuff get to them. They were bad in one-possession games last year. I mean, all those Texas, Missouri, like all the losses that came up last year, Oklahoma State, I believe by the end of it wound up being a one-possession loss as well. Like they were not good in those situations a year ago. And I think, honestly, a lot of it is at the quarterback position. I just think Avery Johnson has an extra gear to get to that Will Howard did not. And has proven himself to be a little bit more of a clutch player so far in his career. So I think that's been the real difference.
So K-State is 7-1 right now. They have 3 games left until they play Iowa State. What's their record going to be heading into Farmageddon?
I do think it's going to be 10-1. Now, you got to be careful with that. Obviously, road game here that we're talking about against Houston, but honestly, I'd be a little bit more worried about Arizona State or probably Cincinnati. I mean, those are the next 2 home games, and I know those are not teams that elicit a lot of fear just based on the name, but Arizona State and Cincinnati have quietly been a lot better this year. Those are both going to be bowl teams, and Cincinnati in particular with Brendan Sorsby at quarterback, he's just made a massive difference for them, and they've had some close calls. but still sit at 5-3. I mean, they're good enough to beat you if you don't bring a great effort. You know, I mean, we saw what could happen. K-State wasn't totally sharp against Kansas. They almost got beat at home. Arizona State's probably capable of that too. They have one of the best running backs in the country in Cam Scatterbo. And if Sam Leavitt, their quarterback, is healthy, like they're solid. But I don't foresee K-State having a ton of trouble there. The problem is going to be, that game in Ames is just going to be a bear. I think that's going to be a really tough one for them to win, not just because Iowa State is so much better this year, but I mean, Matt Campbell's gotten the better of Chris Kleiman. That's just been the track record between those guys since they've been coaching against each other. Obviously, the overall record, Matt Campbell's 3-2, but you know, he's got the 2020 win that was the worst loss of the Kleiman era. And then he's got last year in the snow, which was a really particularly embarrassing loss for K-State. He's been able to do it in Manhattan and in Ames. I just think it's going to be a really tough game. I heard actually Josh Pate say earlier today that he talked to FanDuel, and FanDuel said right now Iowa State would be a 5.5-point favorite in that game. So that'll be a really, really tough one at the end of the year.
That is our guy, John Kurtz, joining us on the show. He's with the 3 Mall Podcast. John, I hope that you're not on the show between now and the end of the month, because if you were on the show next week, something went wrong this week. Something went terribly wrong if you were on the show next Friday.
You weren't going to bring me on to just talk about your Tigers and that dominant performance at Bama?
All right. Yep, see, Rob, you're just going to give him that extra time to do that? No, see, I had to cut that off early. No, we're not. No, I'm not letting that fly here. We invited John Kurtz on our show, and he was going to lead with disrespect. No, we can't have that. No, you know what? John Kurtz is on a 1-week suspension. He's right next to Josh Briscoe on a 1-week suspension for that activity. No, we got to start running a tighter ship. Speaking of a tighter ship, there is a player in the NFL who needs to be suspended. I'll tell you who. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
In honor of Veterans Day, we're celebrating those who have given the ultimate sacrifice by giving back to Tunnel to Towers. Tunnel to Towers is a foundation which helps America's heroes by providing homes to first responder families. Get to Twin Peaks and donate $5 to Tunnel to Towers through November 30th and receive $5 back to spend on yourself at Twin Peaks this December. Visit your favorite Twin Peaks for more information. Valid at participating locations.
I love fall weather. The crisp air, the falling leaves, until someone in my family catches a chill outside. Luckily, Kohl's has deals on all things cozy. I got 20% off comfy layers and warm denim, $10 off because I spent over $50, and earned Kohl's cash. Now we're ready to bundle up and get back out there, thanks to Kohl's. Select styles. Offers end November 3rd. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other. And for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
This is an announcement to all United States vehicle owners who own a 2003 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire, or no warranty coverage at all. With a struggling economy and the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering an affordable, low-cost vehicle coverage plan to the general public. As of today, you could be one of millions of drivers that now may qualify to have your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. You pick your plan. You pick your deductible. You even pick the repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage is included. Get your vehicle protected now and save your wallet from costly vehicle repairs. A toll-free number has been established for you to call for your free 5-minute quote and to see if you qualify. The number to call is 800-290-0239. 800-290-0239. Again, that's 800-290-0239. Coverage, deductibles, and claims may vary. For details, go to endurancewarranty.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Maybe I just need to fully embrace who I've become. It is the old guy that complains about things. Maybe I've always been this person, and I'm just maybe more mindful of it as I'm getting older. This shouldn't even be a hot take. Now, earlier we were talking about Rob is already starting the Christmas season. He's playing Christmas music. He and his wife are now putting up Christmas decorations and ornaments and things around the house, and it just feels a little bit too early to me. It used to be 12 days of Christmas. Now it's 2 months of Christmas. It just seems a little excessive. Now, I am all for the Christmas spirit. I love Christmas. I don't know why we can't just continue to celebrate fall. We then have Thanksgiving, and then when Thanksgiving is over, hey, it's Christmas time, baby. Go ahead and get the tree. Let's get the eggnog. Let's watch Home Alone. Let's watch all your favorite Christmas movies over the course of the next month. I don't know why we can't do it that way, but you know what? You're entitled to do what you want to do. This next take, I don't even think is me being an old guy and being upset. I think it's just common sense based on watching the NFL. So I imagine that my day was a lot like yours yesterday. You do a little family stuff, a little trick-or-treating. You got Thursday night football in the background. You're watching. You got one eye on the game. You got one eye on the kiddos. You got one eye. You're doing a lot of other stuff, right? Well, Rob, I had Devontae Adams to score the first touchdown of the game. I just kind of felt like it's time. It's due. I thought Devontae Adams was going to score the first touchdown of the game. So when the Jets had the ball and they were driving, I was like, hold on. We can go back out and trick-or-treat some more, but let me finish the drive. Let me see how it ends. I wanted to see if my bet was going to cash. Well, it didn't cash. Joe Mixon scored the first touchdown. It wasn't supposed to be Joe Mixon. It was supposed to be, I believe his name is Emmanuel Corley. I believe that's the gentleman's name. For those of you that have seen the play, the Jets run a little end around. And it was a great play design. And as Corley is running into the end zone, he does the Deshaun Jackson. He drops the ball before he gets in the end zone. It is now a touchback, and the Texans get the ball at the 20-yard line because it's a touchback. And I'm beside myself, not because I lost, but because how many times do we have to see a college or an NFL player do this? How hard is it to maintain possession of the ball until you get in the end zone. And then when you get in the end zone, do whatever you want to do. I wish that they even lax the touchdown rules a little bit more than they are. If you want to pick up the pylon and use it like a golf club, great. If you want to dunk the football like Tony Gonzalez used to do, great. Now, there needs to be some rules. I don't think you should have a Sharpie in your sock the way T.O. did, or keep a cell phone underneath the goalpost the way that Joe Horn did, but I like the end zone and the touchdown celebrations. Rob, how do we have to continue to see these football players drop the football at the 1 yard line or right before they go in the end zone that results in a touchback? This happened during a college football game a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember which one it was. Was it the LSU game? I can't remember which one it was. Text line, I'm sure you remember what it was. This college player did the exact same thing that happened last night on Thursday Night Football, and he got real lucky because they didn't overturn it. I thought he let go of the ball before he gets to the end zone. How hard is it to just hold on to the ball all the way through, and then when you get in the end zone, do whatever dance you want to do? I don't care. Spike the football, throw the football up in the stands, play duck, duck, goose, play imaginary sack hop races. I don't care. Hold on to the football. If you were on my team and you did this, this is an automatic fine. This is an automatic $100,000 fine. I got to make this hurt. You got to lose your game check doing some nonsense like this. We're not just, we're going to show you the film and we're going to yell at you. No. This is the automatic $100,000 and or game check fine if you fumble the ball on your way to the end zone and take points off the board. It's the worst thing NFL players do on the field, and it's not close. There is nothing more annoying in an NFL game than watching a running back. It's usually the wide receivers. You're way ahead of everybody. You want to show out. I get it. You just scored a touchdown. Look at me. How did you leave the most important thing behind, possession of the football? Rob, it's so nonsense. It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense at all. And there is a bunch of people who want to, there's a movement, let's call it that, of people who want to change the touchback rule. You know how like if the ball goes out of the end zone, I feel like the touchback rule exists because this keeps happening.
Just because of that.
This is I agree. A larger punishment is fine. If the Jets want to fine him a game check, live your life. But this is exactly why that punishment exists. Corley is scoring a touchdown. It's not a close play. It's not a great defensive effort. It's none of those things. He just is a step away from the end zone and drops the ball. Get into the end zone.
Score. That's it. Score. Once you score, do whatever. I don't care what you do. I really don't care what you do, but at least score. It's such nonsense is what it is.
And to make matters worse, and we had a little bit of this last night, whenever this happens, we get a review, and we get a lengthy review, and inevitably we have to have the conversation of he's dropping the ball, but it's still in his fingertips as he's crossing the line.
No.
Is that possession? He's trying to drop the ball.
No, we need to have a rule. Whatever your intent was, no. You tried to let go of the football. No, I'm with you. It's nonsense. No, it's an absolute penalty. Rob, are you on the same, position that I'm on? Because if you look at college football this weekend, there are 5 teams. There's 5 ranked teams that go on the road to play an unranked opponent. Ole Miss goes on the road to play Arkansas. Oregon goes on the road to play Michigan, Indiana at Michigan State, K-State at Houston, and you also have Texas A&M at South Carolina. You agree that if you made a 5-team parlay and you just took the money line for the 5 ranked teams, you would not cash your parlay. Look that up on the other side. Tell us what the parlay would be. You don't care about the spread. You just want to I'm going to take the ranked better team on the road against an unranked team. That is not a ticket that you are cashing. You are losing. One of these teams is losing. Now, I'm going to remove K-State. Not because I don't think K-State they can't get gotten this way. I'm saying that because I think Houston's terrible. I think Houston is the worst of all of these teams that are the unranked home team. Any team that got handled by Kansas earlier this year, they're not pulling off a big-time upset. So I'm going to remove Houston from this. You got Indiana, Texas A&M, Oregon, and you also have Ole Miss. I'm going to remove Oregon from this list as well, just because I don't think Michigan can score enough to keep up with Oregon. Even if Oregon plays down to Michigan's level, do you trust Michigan to score 24 points in this game? If you don't score 24 points, I just don't think you can beat quality opponents, especially when I believe that Oregon is going to win the Big Ten and go to the college football playoff. I don't think this Michigan team that has played 4 different starting quarterbacks this year, I don't think they're a team capable of pulling off the upset. So that leaves Ole Miss, Indiana, and Texas A&M. Which of those teams do you think is most likely to get bit? Which of those teams do you think is most likely to lose and severely damage their playoff chances out of those 3 teams?
So I looked it up just for fun while you were talking. If you were to take just those 3 games, like we remove the other parts of the equation out of there, here are, if you took A&M on the money line, Indiana on the money line, Ole Miss on the money line is plus 206. That ain't cashing.
No, not at all.
No chance.
No.
I think of those teams, the team that's in the most trouble is A&M. I agree with what John Kurtz said. Like, we've seen the story before. South Carolina is a difficult place to play.
And you also just had an emotional home win last week. Now you go on the road in conference play at night. This is a real dangerous spot for A&M.
I know your quarterback. I don't know who the starter technically is. There's Wegman. You're mix matching quarterbacks. This is where that kind of game usually gets you beat. I think it was last season. Maybe it was 2 seasons ago now. I think it was Tennessee was a 1-loss team. They were flying high. It was the year they beat Bama in Knoxville. They tore down the goalposts. The ensuing week, they went on the road to South Carolina, and they got whooped. South Carolina is a good team, not a great team, but they're good enough to get you. And if you're not on your game on the road in that stadium, Sandstorm gets playing, I think South Carolina is the most likely to pull the upset.
You know how we always call it chargering, or you think Mizzou is going to Mizzou at some point? A&M hasn't A&M'd yet. They haven't yet. They have 2 opportunities to A&M. On the road against South Carolina, on the road against Auburn. The A&M that you and I know, not the ones that our parents know that beat K-State in the Big 12 championship. I mean, the A&M that you and I know, the Johnny Manziel A&M Aggies, the Kevin Sumlin Aggies, they lose one of those 2 games. This is not an A&M team, at least traditionally, that they go 11-2 and they make the college football playoff. No, they go on the road, they get beat by South Carolina. South Carolina storms the field, and we're done talking about A&M being a college football playoff team. A&M, you did the hard part last week. You controlled and you beat LSU. I would say that the college football playoff is right in front of you. You got 3 games before you play Texas, South Carolina, New Mexico State, and Auburn. If you win those 3 games, I believe you're going to the college football playoff. Don't slip up. Because November, this is peak time for you to slip up. You've been reading your press clippings. You got a couple of wins. You already feel like you've done something. And next thing you know, you lose on a last-second field goal. And now you're in the middle of college kids storming the field. And you mad because you thought you were going to the Rose Bowl. Nope, you were going to the Pop-Tart Bowl. That is how quickly things can turn for you in college football. I'm with you. I think that A&M is in a really rough spot. I also think that Ole Miss is in a tough spot. On the road against Arkansas, they got a mobile quarterback, great home field advantage. I think Arkansas is capable of pulling off the upset as well. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Good business owners believe 2 things. You have to provide what the customers want, and you have to keep the fire marshal happy. Pleasing the customer can be tough, but pleasing the fire marshal is easy. Keller Fire and Safety has been doing it for more than 70 years. Fire extinguishers, alarm systems, fire detection, kitchen hood suppression systems. Keller handles all of these so you can focus on business.
Keeping the fire marshal happy
Since 1950.
Keller Fire and Safety.
KellerFire.com.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-406-1794 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody. QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
When you buy a new house, you might say,
"Shut the front door."
Winning!
No, seriously, shut the front door. We own this house now.
But you actually need to say,
"Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there."
That's right. The local State Farm agent is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
Welcome to my crib. No one says that anymore, but I don't care.
So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Mira, Jorge, the
Jose stands tall atop his sustainable flooring company.
Totally. It's renewable and moisture resistant, but we have several green options too. Or we got some beautiful reclaimed oak.
But floored by his success, he needs to hire more installers.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Missouri sign 670 eastbound, slow rolling heading into downtown. You hit delays around the state line. Stays heavy past 35 and 35 northbound. Also heavy into downtown from around Penway. Want more from your dealership at Metro Ford? Every new vehicle comes with a limited lifetime powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan. Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Make sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back into The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you. Coming up in about 40 minutes or so, we are going to be joined in studio by Nate Taylor. All right, let's play this audio for you guys really quickly. This is Greg Olsen. This audio is courtesy of The Ringer. He was on the Ryan Russillo podcast. You guys know that there is a quarterback problem right now in the NFL, at least in regards to how you develop quarterbacks. Here's Greg Olsen's theory on why that is.
There is no doubt we have a quarterback problem in the NFL. I think a lot of it's man-made. Asking your quarterback to stand in the shotgun, catch the ball, and play and throw the ball every down is virtually impossible in today's day and age. But these guys don't learn to get under center. They've never taken an under center snap in their lives. Their entire lives have been 7-on-7 football. It's been passing offense. I coach middle school football here at my kids' school. Of the 8 games we played, 6 of the teams never one time lined up under center, never one time had 2 backs in the backfield, and never one time had a tight end. The best teams, they get under center. It's play action. The reason they're doing that is because it takes the stress load off the quarterback. So I think there is a developmental problem in the whole pipeline of quarterbacks, from high school to college, and then, of course, to the NFL. We want the entire game to be on their shoulders, and then we get mad when they can't handle it at 22 years old. You can't tell me that these guys aren't wildly talented. They need to be coached. They need to be developed. I just don't think as a league in general, we do a good job of that.
I think the 2 biggest problems, I would say 3 biggest problems right now with quarterback development. Let me clear it up. There's 3 major problems. The number 1 problem I think the NFL has with quarterback development is its lack of reps in college. We talked about this earlier in the week. Anthony Richardson threw less than 400 passes while he was in school. Patrick Mahomes threw 1,400 passes. So Patrick Mahomes just played far more football entering the NFL than a guy like Anthony Richardson or Trey Lance. That we've seen this happen with a handful of these prospects. They get drafted off measurables, not necessarily from what you see on tape. You drafted Anthony Richardson because physically he's Cam Newton, 6'5", can run a 4.3, and he fits all of those measurables. But that's not what the tape showed you. He threw 17 touchdown passes at the University of Florida. Now, that's a guy that you would spend a top 3 pick on the way that Indianapolis did. So I think some of it is very similar to what we see in Major League Baseball draft class, very similar to what we see in the NBA. You were not drafting the player. You were drafting the prospect. You were drafting the physical, the measurements, and thinking that you can turn them into a player, and that's a real dicey thing to do. So that's number 1, in my opinion, for why we are struggling at developing quarterbacks. The second thing is, and Rob, you and I just disagree, the further and further we have got away from establishing the run, and that being a focal part of your offense, has made it harder and harder to develop young quarterbacks. You used to be able to kind of get by because you were a run the football, play great defense kind of offense. But if you're asking your quarterback to come into the NFL and to what Greg Olsen just said, you're going to be in shotgun, you're going to throw it 30 or 40 times, it's going to be a real steep learning curve. Defenses are too complex. Defenses are too fast that you have taken away one of the best things that we used to give our running backs. If you had a great tight end that could operate in the middle of the field and you could run the football, you could really help develop a young quarterback. But as the NFL has become more pass heavy and more pass dependent and less involved with running the football, it's put a strain on 21 and 22-year-old quarterbacks who are coming in to the NFL. And the last thing is, and this is a real deep football point, it's now harder to play offensive line than ever before, too. It's less physical in the offseason. And I tell you guys all the time, football is not, it's very different than any other game we follow. There's no way to simulate it. You can play baseball down at the minor league level and get, experience that way and face guys who used to be in the majors or guys who are high prospects. You can get 400, 500 ABs down there before you come up to the show. In basketball, you can play basketball in a way and prepare yourself for sort of what the NBA is going to be like. You can only get better at football by playing more football, and there's just less and less opportunities for you to play football than before. Think about the football practices that you guys had in high school. Your high school practices are more intense than what NFL players go through. You've been to NFL training camp. It's not intense in any way. It's not physical in any way. How else do you improve offensive line play? How do you get Wanya Morris to where he needs to be in a less physical practice space than ever before? And I think you have seen the trickle-down effect. It goes back to what we were talking about with C.J. Stroud. I don't think that C.J. Stroud is any worse this year than he was last year. That team just can't block. That team can't block. That team can't protect him. So on obvious passing downs, they are just releasing the hounds on C.J. Stroud. He was running for his life on 3rd and long and 2nd and long situations yesterday. So I'm looking at a quarterback that has an over 90 quarterback rating, and people are telling me that that guy's taking a big step back. No, the infrastructure around him is significantly worse than it was last year. This team can't block, and this team is injured at wide receiver. That's just a really hard foundation for you to win and have long-term success.
We do disagree on running the ball. I do think running the ball does aid and make quarterback development easier when you do have weaponry beyond just, hey, sling it around the yard. But I think your point about development is spot on. And I think on top of that, I think NFL teams are quicker now to eject on quarterback than ever before. I have no stats to back that up, but it feels like after a 1-year sample size, teams know, okay, we're done. It's not going to work. Or they go, okay, we have something. No one operates in the gray anymore. You made your baseball minor league analogy. How many players, the Royals are a good example of this, in the organization took longer to develop than Baseball America would have liked? It happened a lot, but they came up and they were productive major league players, and that's all that matters. In football, it's, hey, after one 17-game season, it didn't work. We have another top 10 pick. We have to get another quarterback because this guy stinks. Look at the Panthers. They are probably going to draft a quarterback in the first round next year. They, after 2 years, are done with Bryce Young. 2 years?
Really quickly, we say 2 years. It was really like 19 games and they were done with Bryce Young.
It wasn't even two full years. Look what the Cardinals did a couple years back. They gave Josh Rosen 1 year. Okay, that failed. It's out. We're done. We can name quarterback after quarterback who it was like, hey, you got drafted. You're the savior of the franchise. 18 to 20 games later, you're not the savior. We're out. We eject. I mean, Carson Wentz had a little bit of this in Philadelphia. He was the guy, and then things looked, hairy. Then they drafted a new guy, and they ran him out of town after 4 years. Like, I think owners, GMs, fans, the whole football community quits on quarterback faster than any other position in any other sport. We talked about Xavier Worthy on the show earlier this week, and I said I think he's a little bit behind the learning curve. Text line filled up with, well, he's a rookie. Give him time, give him time, give him time. And that's fair. We don't do that at quarterback. hey, this guy is a bust or a success, and we think that after 6 games, and we hold on to that feeling, and nothing shakes us.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think a lot of that is the fact that just the NFL hiring cycle just moves faster than it did before. But, I mean, we are not that far removed. And you remember, you and I are from the same football generation that every team was like, well, if you can win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer, then you can win a Super Bowl with anybody. Well, if you're telling me, because the text line tells me that defenses have caught up with offenses, and now this is a different football league, why can't we get back to what it was? Like, so this is from 2000. Trent Dilfer, Kerry Collins, Brad Johnson, Rich Gannon, Jake Delhomme, Matt Hasselbeck. These are quarterbacks that went to the Super Bowl in the early 2000s. This wasn't that long ago. You know what all of those teams had in common? All those teams ran the football. All those teams played defense. I know that we have fallen in love with the past, and I know that quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. Man, it wasn't that long ago where if you were great at running the football and you were great at playing defense, you had a chance to win. Not everybody is going to have Patrick Mahomes as their starting quarterback or Tom Brady as their starting quarterback. We have seen a generation of where other quarterbacks can win the Super Bowl. So the same way in the NBA. I know it's a little bit different, but follow me here. The NBA is just so caught up on, we got to shoot threes. We got to shoot threes. All right, well, you don't got Steph Curry on your team. You also don't have Jason Tatum, and you also don't have Jaylen Brown. How do you win a championship? And eventually, I think you are going to see a team win a championship a different way, and the league is going to shift. Everything goes in a cycle, right? Everything is cyclical in that way. Are we going to see a team that maybe beats you the same way that the Ravens did in 2000s, or the Giants did in 2000s, or Tampa Bay did in 2002? If you were telling me that the era of the high-flying quarterback is over and it's just not going to be throw the ball all over the yard, are we going to get back to seeing teams run the football, play great defense, play good special teams, and be well coached? Is that what we are potentially looking at as being the answer to fixing some of the quarterback issues in the league?
You know what's interesting about that list you laid out, the Matt Hasselbeck grouping? A lot of those quarterbacks were guys that were on other rosters and then went to a Super Bowl with a different roster. A retread, if you will. How do we view retread quarterbacks in the league right now, Carrington? And by the way, I'm part of this problem. But right now, you, me, the NFL hierarchy, the people that talk NFL, if you have a retread quarterback, what do we say? Oh, you're just in a year until you figure it out. The Raiders are bad, but they're a good example of this. You know what we called Minshew? He's just a fill-in. He's just a stopgap until they find the guy. NFL owners and GMs don't look at the Matt Hasselbecks as viable options. Carson Wentz's starting days in the NFL are probably done. More than likely, like being a full-time NFL starter. Or if he is a starter, he's on a terrible franchise. They're just trying to get to the next draft pick. That is what's interesting to me is there used to be multiple ways to skin a cat. You either draft your guy and you develop him and you go with him, or you would take a retread and build around him. But you can't do that anymore because quarterback contracts are bananas. So you have to pay pennies on the dollar for bad retreads. And then you're just in this endless loop of retread draft, retread draft, retread draft. How much of this conversation is because quarterback contracts have gone banana land, and either you got to pay all your money.
I would also say
because you can't afford a regular retread. Like the Steve Bono for the Chiefs, you can't afford that right now in the NFL. He's too good to be paid nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say that, I mean, some of this to me is just walking away from some of the average quarterbacks that teams are just signing themselves up for. Like, there was no reason to sign yourself up long-term for Trevor Lawrence, and we just saw a team do it. It was all the sense in the world to walk away from Daniel Jones and be the team that we were talking about, where you run the ball, you play good defense, you build the offensive line. Like, teams are just choosing to be this way, which to me just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I guess this is in the same vein as what we were talking about. I want to ask you a question. In the AFC, I think it is very obvious who is in this circle, right? Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo. I would put all three of those teams in this circle. But my question to you is, who in the NFC would you put in the circle of trust?
With the knowledge you've been given, you are now on the inside of what I like to call the Burns family circle of trust. See, if I can't trust you, Greg, then I have no choice but to put you right back outside the circle. And once you're out, you're out. There's no coming back.
Well, I would definitely like to stay inside the circle.
I know we're putting the Lions inside the circle of trust. What other NFC team are we putting inside the circle of trust? We can go through the NFC East. Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and Commanders. I would put the Commanders inside the circle of trust. I think the Commanders are a good, capable team. I'm not certain the Commanders can win the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to make the postseason. Their offense is fun. They feel like this year's version of the Houston Texans. They're going to win 10, 11 games. They're going to compete in that division. I do think Philadelphia in the end probably edges them out just a little bit to win that division. So I'll put the Commanders in the circle. I'll put the Eagles in the circle for now. I will probably eliminate the Eagles at some point solely because I don't like their head coach.
Their quarterback also hates their head coach, which is just crazy. So right now in the circle, you have the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens.
I'm just doing the NFC circle for this point. I'm with you. That's a separate circle.
All right. I wanted to make sure, because to have the Commanders in the same circle as the Chiefs.
Doing that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting the
cheapening.
Commanders in the same circle as the Chiefs. I do like the Commanders. I like the Eagles. I think they have been a little bit better than I've given them credit for. I'm going to eliminate my Nick Sirianni dislike. I'm going to remove myself from there. I do like the addition of Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown being there. There's two different versions of Jalen Hurts. There's the one that has A.J. Brown and the one that doesn't. The one that has A.J. Brown is actually pretty decent. The one that doesn't is yikes.
I think it's just Detroit. I think Detroit is the singular team in the circle of trust, because here's my thought. The Commanders are good, but are we putting them in the circle of trust with the same category as the Lions? That feels a little unfair to the Lions.
Well, then I would say my point would be then, and maybe this is your answer then, if we're not putting the Commanders in that circle, then I'm not really sure how many teams we could put inside the circle of trust. So maybe your answer is just there's not many teams in the NFC that I trust, and that's perfectly fine. If you're telling me the Lions are the only team, but I don't know how you could, with good conscience, put San Francisco in there based on what we've seen them do so far. You know I like the Rams. They're a below 500 team right now. I can't put them in there. Honest to God, you might laugh at me, I really want to put Atlanta inside the circle of trust. I like this Falcons team. I think the Falcons are a legitimate contender in the NFC. Now, saying that has usually ended poorly for whoever had that opinion, but I like the Atlanta Falcons.
I think the only team is Detroit, because I think there are obvious flaws that make them not trustworthy with every other team. Like, let's go division leaders. The Cardinals. You're not putting the Cardinals in the circle of trust. I mean, Kyler Murray may have put down Call of Duty for now, but they're 500. Like, no. The Falcons, they have the weaponry, but Raheem Morris and Kirk Cousins are the group that you think are in the same circle of trust that can win a couple playoff games and represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? I don't think so. The Eagles are close, but I have not been able to remove my Sirianni dislike the same way you have, and I don't know I trust him. There's going to be another game this season they lose because he's a moron. That's coming. I think the Packers are close, but Jordan Love is never healthy, so it's really hard to bet on them. The Vikings seem close, but the say it out loud test, I trust Sam Darnold. That feels like I don't know that's correct. So now, and the Niners, you mentioned earlier, they're 500 and are beat up? I think the only team inside the circle in the NFC is the Lions. Now, I think a tier down, or for the circle analogy, teams just outside the circle, there's a much larger grouping in the NFC.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Exists.
So then I'll ask you this question. I don't think you'll answer this honestly then. So based on what you're saying, because in the AFC, you would put more teams inside the circle of trust than you would in the NFC. Do you think it's more likely that Detroit makes the Super Bowl than Kansas City? Because if you were telling me that there's only one team you trust in the NFC, like right now, if I told you I will give you the Lions versus the field, is it more likely in that scenario, Chiefs versus the field than Lions versus the field, that you would rather take the field in the AFC than taking the field in the NFC against the Lions? That's kind of what it sounds like to me. I don't want to put words in your mouth, though.
I think If you said Chiefs versus the AFC field, Lions versus the NFC field, which one are you more comfortable betting? I would bet the Lions. And that is a product of the other teams in the NFC just as much as the Lions. The Lions are good, but I don't think they're, the 98 Rams or something where it's like, oh, that team just can't be stopped. Or the 2020 Chiefs where it's like, oh, they're a behemoth. But I look around the rest of the NFC and they seem to have larger flaws than the Lions. And the Lions have a flaw. Their best pass rusher broke his leg. Like, bad. That was an injury we didn't need to see a replay of, Aiden Hutchinson. But outside of that, they do everything else well. Name another team in the NFC that only has one flaw. You can't. Even the Commanders. The Commanders needed a Hail Mary to beat the Bears at home. The Commanders, they have a rookie quarterback. They're going to have rookie quarterback mistakes. The Niners can't get healthy. Jordan Love can't get healthy. The Vikings, honestly, also can't get healthy.
The only reason I'm surprised you have this opinion for this reason. Kansas City is far more likely to win on the road than the Lions are. If the Lions don't get the 1 seed, and you're telling me a team that has played basically all of their games this season indoors, you're telling me that they might have to go on the road for 2 Sundays in January? I am not picking Jared Goff to go on the road and win those games. So I hear what you're saying about the Lions, but in a division in where I would say there's one team that feels like they're their equal and they don't just have a clear path, the Chiefs have a pretty clear path to being the 1 seed here. And I know their games are outdoors, but you're telling me that Joe Burrow is coming to you, Josh Allen is coming to you, Lamar is coming to you, and they have to beat you on your terms. If the Lions got to go on the road in the postseason and they got to play the Packers, I'm picking the Packers to win that game. I'm not picking Jared Goff to go on the road in late January and beat any of those teams. I'm not picking them, and I like that Lions team. So I just look at the NFC, even with there being a clear favorite. I think the Lions certainly are the favorite in the NFC. I think it's anybody's ball game in the NFC. I don't look at the AFC as that way. I think it's Kansas City, and on the right day, given the right situation, sure. Could Buffalo beat them? Could Baltimore beat them? I'm looking at it. Atlanta could go to this thing. Green Bay could go to this thing. San Francisco could turn things around. The Rams could get healthy. I think there's like 5 or 7 teams in the NFC that I think have shown themselves capable to potentially go on a run. Coming up on the other side, Rob, let's give people a parlay. We hit our NFL parlay last week. We've hit 3 straight weeks. We have hit a parlay for you guys. We'll try to do it again. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Well, we got a busy Saturday of college football and also with the pros, and there's no better place to catch up with all of the weekend football action than with my friends over at the other place. We also got basketball going on as well. So if you want to catch up with all your sports, also have a beer, also catch the game, the other place is the perfect place to do so. And they got great game day specials like a 14-inch 2-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12, and a $4 domestic cup. It's the next best thing to being at the stadium with an incredible game day atmosphere. They also got brunch now. So be sure to stop by the other place at any of the Area 5 locations. It's your home for all things football.
Finding an attorney can be an overwhelming process. Fortunately, since 1996, Mark Ferguson has helped thousands of Kansas Cityans during their time of need. Whether you're facing a traffic violation or a more serious crime, Mark and his team of seasoned, compassionate professionals are here to fight for you in all of your legal matters. Mark has built his career on integrity, knowledge, and an incredible reputation. Call Mark Ferguson at 816-203-2263. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
What's up, sandwich heads? Today on Steve-O's Sandwich Reviews, we've got the tips and tricks to the best sandwich order. And it all starts with this little guy right here. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Partial to pastrami, craving a Cubano. Yeah, sounds delicious, but boom! Add the crisp, refreshing taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar and cue the fireworks. Lunch, dinner, or late night, it'll be a sandwich worth celebrating. Trust me, your boy's eaten a lot of sandwiches in his day, and the one thing I can say with absolute fact, every bite is better with Pepsi.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Get your holidays started with the perfect tree in your perfect style from the Home Depot. Whether you want something that you can assemble in a few clicks, steal the show with over 2,000 color-changing bulbs, or a tree with lights that can be controlled by remote or foot pedal. The Home Depot has it all in our huge assortment of premium trees. Plus, get free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday from the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for details.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 50 Highway and Chipman Road in Lee Summit on Friday, November 1st. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Missouri side 670 eastbound heavy into downtown from the state line. 35 northbound slow into downtown from southwest traffic way. Heading out of downtown, pretty heavy 29 northbound. You hit slowdowns at the Bond Bridge. Stays heavy up past Antioch with an earlier problem that has cleared. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into the show. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Nate Taylor of The Athletic. Let me tell you that our weekly parlay is brought to you by Twin Peaks, where you can eat, drink, and see the scenic views. So this is what we do every week. We give you one college football parlay. We also give you one NFL parlay to hope you win a little bit of cash. For those of you that play these, we have hit a parlay in each of the last 3 weeks. So we are doing our best to try to help you win a little bit of money. Rob, if you will, hit hit me with a little bit of music. Let's win the folks some cash. All right, in college football, there is only one direction for me to go. I actually don't really like this week in college football. This is going to be the least amount of action that I've had out over the course of a Saturday. I do like Penn State on the money line, but I'm not going to include that in my parlay. This is what I'm going to include in my parlay. In the last 55 meetings between two teams that were in the service academy, the under is 44, 10, and 1. So the over-under for Air Force and Army is at 41.5. Now, I'm not worried about Army in this situation. I am a little worried about Air Force. So if you want, you can take the first half over-under at 21.5. Maybe this is a 14-7 game at halftime, or maybe Army is up 21-0. Air Force hasn't scored if you're worried about that. But for my official pick, I'm going to take the under on 41.5. I'm going to trust the trend, the fact that it has hit 44 out of the last 55 times between two games in the service academy. So my official pick for our college football parlay is give me the under in Air Force and Army at 41.5.
I'm going to take the over tonight's game, by the way. Boise State, San Diego State. I'm going to take the over with Ashton Gentry for rushing yards. Now, a lot of people are going to get scared away by the number because it's 191.5.
I would normally stay away from that.
That's a scary number, but Ashton Gentry is a freak. Up until last week, he was pacing to break Barry Sanders' single-season record, and last week he slowed to a halt, only having 150-plus on the ground against UNLV. Their opponent, San Diego State, gives up 160 yards per game on the ground. They have not seen a beast like Gentry. This game's on the blue turf. I like Gentry's over at 191.5. You play that with Carrington's under, and it's plus 246 on FanDuel.
All right, I am going to, in the NFL, I'm going to take David Montgomery for an anytime touchdown at minus 105. I'm surprised that there's not more juice attached to this. You're basically going to give me even money for a guy who has scored in all but one game this year, and that's a game that he left with injury. I mean, I understand how Jahmyr Gibbs is at minus 105. So are David Montgomery. Each of them have scored the last 3 weeks. I'm going to take David Montgomery as maybe the more consistent option here. He's also been their goal line option. So every week, if you're going to give me almost even money on David Montgomery, or you can play a boost over on FanDuel and add 30% odds to it, so you can get David Montgomery at plus money. I'm going to take it every single week. Give me David Montgomery minus 105 to score a touchdown against the Packers.
I'm going to take the Broncos plus 9.5. They're on the road at the Ravens, but the Ravens defense is really bad. Like, we don't talk about it enough, but one of the reasons why the Ravens are not Super Bowl good is they can't stop a nosebleed. Jameis Winston was hibachiing them last week, just all over the yard.
I actually took him to throw for 300 yards. I laddered it up last week.
Bo Nix might not be that dude, but he's a good enough player, and Sean Payton's a good enough coach where they can figure out how to score. And you're giving me almost 10 points with two equal teams at 5 and 3. I'll take the Broncos plus 9.5. You pair that with a Montgomery touchdown, it's plus 272.
All right, those were a couple parlays. If you want to go ahead and lay a little bit of money on those, hopefully we help you out. Our weekly parlays brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eat, drink, and see the scenic views. I was thinking this before Nate Taylor joins us in just a little bit. This is the most entertaining Heisman race I believe we've seen probably since 1998 with Peyton Manning and Charles Woodson. If you think about all of the options that we have right now for the Heisman Trophy, you have Travis Hunter, who I would vote for Travis Hunter. I think he has clearly proven that he's the best player in college football. You were talking about a receiver that has 5 100-yard games and is going to be a first-team All-Pro wide receiver, also a player who is going to be first-team All-Pro on defense. We have never seen a talent like this, not Charles Woodson, not Desmond Howard. We have never, ever seen a player like Travis Hunter at major college football who is a legitimate all-star on both sides of the ball. You have maybe the best running back, at least from a college running back perspective, we've probably seen since Reggie Bush with Ashton Genty from Boise State. And then you also have Cam Ward, who I think has to be included in that conversation, where in a normal year, I think that Cam Ward would be the favorite to win the award. He is the quarterback of a top 10 team, and he has been phenomenal this season. He has 24 touchdown passes. He has 5 interceptions. He also gives you a dynamic running ability. Cam Ward has had a fantastic season. You could also argue Dillon Gabriel should be in that conversation. He'd be a little bit further down the list for me, but those would be my top 3. Heading into November, I would have the Heisman race. I would have Hunter 1, Genty 2, and then I would have Cam Ward as the 3rd favorite coming into the Heisman Trophy. But I can honestly say, and it's usually not like this, it feels like it's anybody's game heading into the final 4 or 5 weeks of the regular season.
I agree with you, and I apologize. I said Gentry, not Genty. My apologies. I think at this point it's Travis Hunter's Heisman to lose unless Genty breaks Barry Sanders' record, which I still think he's going to do. He's got, 5 games left? He's played in 7 games. He has 1,300 rush yards, which is just absolutely crazy. Barry Sanders' record is 2,600 yards in a season.
He's averaging 8.7 yards per carry. It's just not realistic.
Stupid. But if he catches Barry Sanders, I will pivot away. If he breaks Barry Sanders' single-season record, which was at Oklahoma State, he had 2,600 yards his junior year, which, oh my God, in 11 games is incredible. If he breaks that record, okay, I think he's the Heisman. But for now, until he chases history, I think it's Travis Hunter's to lose, which, you're right. In a normal year, Travis Hunters are rare. Great corner, great receiver happens every season. We don't see it like that. Cam Ward probably is going to lose out, but he's going to lose out to possibly history and more history potentially. So, yeah, I have it Hunter, Genty, and then distant third, Cam Ward. And Dillon Gabriel's probably on the list, but I don't know he makes New York. He should, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, I think he's going to make it. I think they like to have 5 players there, so I could see him just getting the nod because, if you're the quarterback on the best team in the Big Ten, you certainly earn yourself a place there. There'll probably be one other player. At the beginning of the season, I thought it was kind of Quinn Ewers' Heisman Trophy to lose, and he's absolutely lost the Heisman Trophy over the course of the last couple of weeks. All right, let's step aside here. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined in studio by Nate Taylor of The Athletic. A lot of Chiefs stuff to catch up with. We'll also get his thoughts on the rest of the NFL as the Chiefs don't play until Monday. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Metro Ford online at kcmetroford.com. Missouri side, 35 northbound, pretty heavy from the state line, not quite into downtown. Looks like you may have trouble past Penway slowing you. On the Kansas side, 435 northbound, pretty slow, approaching Donahue. Stays heavy up towards K5 with construction set up, blocking 2 right lanes. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Right now, 38 states allow for sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools without raising property taxes. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 professional soccer teams, the KC Current and St. Louis City. These days, Republicans and Democrats don't agree on much, but the Republican and Democratic candidates for governor are both supporting Amendment 2 because it means more money for education. Amendment 2 isn't like the lottery. There's a strong constitutional guarantee. The new money from sports betting will go to our schools. $100 million for education without raising property taxes. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Vote yes on 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education. Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-406-1794 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Veterans Day sale, save 40% on the Sleep Number Special Edition smart bed. Limited time. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling, serving all of KC.
At Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling, we turn icy cold rooms into toasty retreats. Comfort Systems is your winter rescue team. Comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays starting at 2 on Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. He's been in the locker room since 2018 and has seen the Chiefs make the AFC title game every year. Coincidence? Who knows? But no one is more plugged into your Chiefs than Nate Taylor of The Athletic.
I know the Chiefs are probably calling teams to be like, hey, 6th-round pick, and I don't know if anybody's going to bite on that sort of trade offer.
And he joins CDOT every Friday at 4, right here on your new home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the Drive. We are expected to be joined by Nate Taylor here coming up in a bit. I'm very excited to get his thoughts on Joshua Uche, the newest member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Earlier in the week, we had Alex Barth on the show. He covers the Patriots for 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston, and he believes that Uche would be a great addition to a contender like the Chiefs.
I think it's a great trade. One, because like you said, he's not going to be a focal point, right? Chris Jones, all those other guys up front, he's going to be able to come in, play situationally, and go try to win one-on-one. On top of that, so Uche was actually on an expiring contract last year, and it didn't seem like he'd be back. And a lot of people thought they'd move him last year, and the reports were that they could get an early day 3 pick for him at that time. They didn't end up moving him. He kind of falls off in the second half of the season. They bring him back this year on a 1-year prove-it deal. and he's failed to live up to that. But you're talking about they went from potentially getting a 4th or 5th round pick for him to a future 6th. So I think the Chiefs get a player that will help them, and they probably didn't pay as much as they would have for a similar player a year ago at the same time.
That was Alex Barth of 98.5, the Sports Hub in Boston. He believes that Uche would be a great addition to the Chiefs. Nate Taylor just walked in here. We'll introduce him here coming up in a bit. This is a trade that the Chiefs have made basically every year that Brett Veach has been here. We kind of know what his type is. Former first-round pick or second-round pick, a guy that they scouted, a guy that they like, that they can acquire for the cheap. And they got him. I can't think of a time that they acquired a player more cheaply than what they just got Joshua Uche for. He makes less than $1 million between now and the end of the season, and they gave up a 6th-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. So if he can give you anything, it would be a much-needed bonus for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's welcome in our guy Nate Taylor to get his thoughts on this deal. I think this is a really smart trade for the Chiefs. I would say this is a low-risk, possible medium-reward kind of trade. I don't think he's the guy that got 11.5 sacks a couple seasons ago. You don't need him to be that. I think this is an example that maybe Mike Dana is a little bit more injured than they are letting off, or maybe Charles Omenihu isn't going to come back maybe as quickly as they thought. We got a chance to get a young, under 28-year-old pass rusher at next to nothing draft pick compensation or cap space wise. This is a no-brainer move for really any contending team in the league.
Correct. And it helps mitigate the 2 players you mentioned earlier, whether Mike Dana is not the same caliber of player because he has lingering injuries. He's had injuries with his calf and now with the pectoral. And yeah, it's going to take Charles Omenihu till like mid-December to be probably back to his regular form that he showed last year. So that's okay. Joshua Uche can play right now. He can play situationally pretty well on 3rd downs if you need just a regular 4-man rush instead of having to have all these elaborate creative pressures from blitzes with Spagnuolo. So the thing that jumps out to me is he's probably their fastest pass rusher off the edge, which is an element that they lacked and that they need, because I think George Karlaftis does a really good job with spin moves and bull rushes and long arms and, power to help collapse the pocket. Chris Jones is going to be in the backfield quite a bit, but you need somebody to generate pressure quicker off the edge than Karlaftis or Dana or Felix Anudike-Uzomah. And again, if we all are led to believe that Joshua Uche can give you 20 good pass rushing snaps a game, hey, 4 or 5 of those should be speed off the edge that leads to chaos, right? Whether that's him getting a hit on the quarterback, generating pressure, or his pressure leading to somebody else cleaning up. If that's Tershawn Wharton, great. If it's Chris Jones, awesome. George Karlaftis can meet him at the quarterback if the timing is right. But he has a role. And if Spags wants to get even more creative and sort of slide him inside when Charles Omenihu comes back, I've also thought about that too. Like, the best version of the Chiefs pass rush is probably, as of right now, George Karlaftis rushing off of Chris Jones. And then you either have Tershawn Wharton or Joshua Uche rushing off of Charles Omenihu back to his normal form on the edge. So you have a 5-man combination that you can play with 4 on a certain down.
I noticed
distance.
the name was missing.
I'm sorry.
You didn't notice that name was missing?
I knew what I knew what I was saying.
Okay, I hear you, but
yes.
I'm saying is they spent the 1st round pick on somebody, and you were telling me somebody that hasn't been here a week, is already ahead of them on your depth chart. That's noticeable to me.
Yes. No, it's true. Guys, he's on a 4-year plan, and that's okay. It's okay. It's okay because you have Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, one of the best offensive coordinators in the history of the sport, and Steve Spagnuolo. It's okay, but like, I think it's reasonable for Chiefs fans to say you shouldn't expect anything from Felix Anudike-Uzomah until midway through this point next year and in his 4th year. Now, if he plays well, you have the 5th year option at your disposal. That's why you don't trade down It's why Clark Hunt was like, I was gonna remind people this too, like the Chiefs were really considering trading down when the draft was in Kansas City. And then Clark was like, make the pick somebody. And we get the 5th-year option. So, okay, that's fine. But no.
Clark was not worried about the 5th-year option. Clark paid for those fireworks to go off after they made the pick.
I have the trophy in my hand.
Yeah, Clark paid for those fireworks, and we are not popping these fireworks for pick 42. No, we've got all these people out here. We are making this pick, so I'm not gonna let you spin it like, oh no.
Hey, 5th-year option.
And you can do that when you're the boss.
True.
When you're
Very
the one
true.
paying everybody here, maybe you and Andy disagree. You're gonna win that disagreement.
So guys, they took a double developmental edge rusher in the first round, and they won the Super Bowl last year. So look, I think Felix.
Can we go back and I can ask you this question?
Yeah, sure.
Let's say that Felix DK Uzama. Let's say that he grew up in Seattle, Washington.
Ooh, don't do this to me.
Are they drafting him there? Or is Clark willing to trade back to get that player? Or was it was the perfect sequence of everything? We can draft a hometown kid in our draft. I'm holding the trophy, the fireworks going off in the background. It could be a possibility. I'll shoot the Chiefs this. This is a pick that we don't need to immediately help us. So if you're saying that this is a 4-year plan, but not many teams are usually spending a first-round pick on a 4-year developmental player.
Defensive end. Yes, that's what he is. Yes. I mean, by the time Chris Jones might be in the twilight of his prime is when you need Felix to be at his absolute peak, which might take 3 or 4 years under Joe Cullen. I know. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just telling you the truth. I think you are right, Carrington, that it was a fortuitous moment for all parties involved. Hey, we get to take the hometown kid. We have looked at him. We've obviously scouted him really hard. He's one of the youngest players in the draft at that time, too. So you knew what you were doing. This is about years 2, 3, and 4. This ain't about, hey, we need you to come in and be rookie defensive player of the year. Hell no. So we just need you to be an active body who can learn. And obviously, if you look at even Felix's college career, it wasn't like he came in and was immediately dominating in the Big 12. It took time. So you're hoping that that's a natural transition for him, that he will essentially become an ascending player in years 3, 4, and 5. Because of the Charles Omenihu suspension, hey, that helps. He'll get early playing experience. At the same time, yeah, it'd be nice if we took the hometown kid right now. Now, I don't know if we talked about this either. While Clark Hunt is holding the trophy, are we comfortable taking Rashee Rice with a first-round pick? The answer was no. But they definitely considered it at the time. So, okay, fine. Hopefully we get, either Rashee Rice or another receiver similar in the second round. And that's ended up what happening. So they were comfortable with the idea of, hey, I think there was nobody in the organization that told me, oh, this guy's going to be just like George Karlaftis. No, they drafted George Karlaftis because we need a starting defensive end. And holy smokes, one fell to us at 30. I think it was pick 30. And so they sort of lucked out in that way. But yeah, I don't think you want to see Felix in a gotta have it third down in January. I just don't think that's the plan right now, because you would not be making a trade for Joshua Oche. You just wouldn't. And based on what you said earlier about not really giving up anything from a draft standpoint this year, it's a 6th-round pick next year. There's no real money at stake. Hey, if he does well, and I even wrote this in The Athletic, say Joshua Ocho has like 6 sacks between now and the end of the season, makes a couple really nice plays in the postseason. Well, hey, you can bring him back for another 1-2 year deal. That'll be team friendly for you, and it'll be kind of like what Drew Tranquill did, where he was on a prove it 1-year deal, and obviously he fits the system. He's a really talented, smart player. Okay, you reward him. That's still not going to mess up Felix's timeline at all. So there's a case to be made that if this trade works out, it could benefit you even into next season, because you've proven to the player that he fits the system, that he helped the team win a Super Bowl or got back to the Super Bowl or whatever it may be. And he has, 55% of the defensive snaps at his disposal if he wants to come back.
There's a lot of stuff I want to get your opinion on coming up on the other side. I want to get your opinion on D-Hop. I want to get your opinion on Xavier Worthy. And if you think they're done, we are just a handful of days away from the trade deadline. The trade deadline and the election end at the exact same time. So we are coming to the very end of this thing. Are the Chiefs going to make another move? Darius Slayton is still out there. We got Nate Taylor in studio. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here for our new friends over at Heartland's Men's Health. I recently learned something. Did you know that half of the men over the age of 50 experience erectile dysfunction? It also can affect younger men. ED isn't just a medical issue. It can take a toll on your confidence and your relationships. And over at Heartland Men's Health, they believe that ED is treatable, and their expert team offers up solutions with a success rate that's over 90%. You can enjoy intimacy without the anxiety. Take back control. And for just $99, your initial visit includes a medical consultation, test, and even a test dose. And if it doesn't work, your visit is on the house. It's totally free. Men are getting back to enjoying a vibrant sex life just one day after their appointment with my friends over at Heartland's Men's Health, and that's what I want for you. Go stop by any one of the 3 area locations, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Don't settle. Pick up the phone and call my friend at Heartland's Men's Health at 844-447-6600 or check out heartlandmenshealth.com. Get your life back today.
You've been waiting, and now is the time. Golden Oak Lending has fixed mortgage rates at 4.875%. But don't wait. This rate won't last forever. Call today and take advantage of our low 4.875 fixed rate. Call 913-890-GOLD. That's 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, join my blues.
5.784 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. Create your dream engagement ring and browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts, from diamond studs, tennis bracelets, birthstone necklaces, and more. With our everyday competitive prices, an unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company knows how to work with your budget, not against it. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you do even the most routine physical activity? Have they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds, and QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
Let's face it, nowadays most companies have to rely on dozens of expensive, disconnected platforms to run their business. And even then, things can get a little, well, stressful. But with Odoo's all-in-one management software, packed with a suite of fully integrated business applications, every process is streamlined. Tasks are automated, and success is just a few clicks away. See how Odoo can take your business to the next level at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Did you know that Wendy's has any size soft drinks for just $1? Yeah, any size, anytime. Like $1 Coke, $1 Sprite, or even $1 strawberry Fanta. Okay, could we maybe switch up the sound effect? Please? Because I'm losing it. Wow, no, not that. Any size soft drink for just $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Not valid in a combo. Exclusions apply.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the propane tank on your grill first, before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 50 Highway and Chipman Road in Lee Summit on Friday, November 1st. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
You're heavy into downtown 35 northbound from the state line up towards Penway with an accident in the center lane. 670 eastbound slowing to downtown from the state line. Kansas side northbound 435 very heavy from Donahue up towards Cape 5 with construction. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right. I have probably 4 things written down to ask you, Nate Taylor. Let's start with this. I'm going to get myself in trouble here early. What do you think is the highest number between now and the end of the regular season? Do you think it's Joshua Oche sacks or Travis Kelce touchdowns?
Travis Kelce touchdowns.
Okay.
We're really hedging it, but I'm gonna say like 5 against 4 or something like that.
Oh, you got Kelce getting hot the second half of the season. Then.
Yeah, I do, just because. I mean, I think DeAndre Hopkins will help him. I mean, we saw it a little bit against the Raiders. And so, I was looking at some stats earlier today. For Monday night's game, excuse me. Buccaneers don't really guard tight ends well. So, the Buccaneers rank 30th in receiving yards allowed to the tight end position. So hey, who knows? Maybe he gets one on Monday Night Football. But I will trust the future Hall of Famer over the guy coming over in a trade.
I feel like D-Hop could have played more, and I felt like them not using them was maybe a little bit just more symbolic than anything, and just given his age of just, we're going to take this thing a lot slower. He only ran a route 14 times on Sunday. They only targeted him 3 times. He was on the field for 32% of the snaps. We're not questioning conditioning. And with the guy who is an established veteran, I don't know if you're worried as much about the miscommunication. To me, it felt more of a, let's try to establish Xavier Worthy. Let's continue to use some of our other options, and we can bring this thing along slowly up until we get to the Bills. I actually think that that's kind of going to be their position with Hopkins for the next 2 weeks. And then I think we'll see, all right, this was the plan with DeAndre Hopkins here coming up after 3 games, and the 4th game is against the Buffalo Bills.
I genuinely love that because, give him a nice little, ovation, couple moments against the Buccaneers. Denver's a good defense. Now, I don't know if they can hang with the Chiefs for 60 minutes based on, some of their highs and low moments from an offensive standpoint. But yeah, if we believe the Chiefs will handle business over the next 2 weeks, then yeah, the fireworks are supposed to be on November 17th on the road in Buffalo. And look, by then too, we would think, since he's not on IR, that Juju Smith-Schuster will be back for that game as well. So you will have perhaps Isaiah Pacheco, Juju, and then obviously the usual, crew so far, Kareem Hunt, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, and everybody else. So I actually love that idea just because you want as many options for Patrick Mahomes during the stretch run, which really starts on November 17th, because then you have important games against Los Angeles, Houston, and then obviously Christmas Day is its own sort of weirdness. But hey, as of right now, the Steelers are the number 2 seed, which is insane. So, that's the stretch run, but I love that idea because it gives, at that point, if this is true and your plan is what the Chiefs execute, Carrington, that gives DeAndre close to a month to where you can really, anticipate what he's good at. He will understand. He'll have more timing with Mahomes, and then you can work off some of the things you've already put on tape to sort of switch up the tendencies to get him the ball maybe on third down more or in the red zone, because the Buffalo Bills are going to be looking at Travis Kelce. They're going to be looking at maybe Juju or Xavier Worthy based on down and distance. So, yeah, I love that idea. And that's one of the reasons why you got him, right? So that you can keep your lead against Buffalo and not have Buffalo sort of chase you down in the second half of the year.
Do you think that Isaiah Pacheco plays in the Bills game?
I know he wants to. I know Pacheco wants to play next Sunday. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that seems to be the most, like...
I guess to ask, is that because of him or is that because of them? Like physically, physically, could Pacheco come back and play?
Andy, yesterday, I'm sure you may have talked about it, but Andy, we as a group of reporters asked Andy about Isaiah, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. He's doing great, but he's not gonna play." So, I saw Isaiah today in the locker room, looking pretty good. Obviously, we saw the clips of him running. If he plays against the Buffalo Bills on November 17th, I do want to remind people that it's like he's going to come in and get all the snaps. They will obviously ease him in. That's what Andy Reid mostly does in these circumstances. So yeah,
they didn't ease in Kareem Hunt.
Well, they were in desperate times because they were like, "Hey, rookie, can you just give us one good game?" And to his credit, Carson still played about as well as you could have asked him for against the Atlanta Falcons. They barely win that game, and then Carson still fumbled, and that was it. That was just like, "Hey, Kareem, get ready because you're taking all the carries from this day forth." So that was interesting timing too. It's like they kind of pushed the rookie as much as they could, and then once Kareem got into a flow, they were like, "Why would we stop? Because we have no other options." And it leaves Samaje Perine back in his usual Jerick McKinnon third down back role. But yes, he could potentially practice next week ahead of facing the Denver Broncos on November 10th. Most cases, Andy Reid wants to give you a week of practice, then give you another week to get you, back into, the best shape, conditioning, acclimate yourself to your teammates in terms of the timing on certain plays. And then, yeah, you might get a sprinkle or two of Isaiah Pacheco against the Buffalo Bills.
Is there any debate on who their number one running back is?
When he comes back?
Yes.
No.
I just bring that up because for some reason, I don't know how Rob and I are usually on different pages when it comes to running backs. We were on the same page here. It is obvious who their best running back is. Text line is actually very split on who the best running back is for the Chiefs. Yes, I know the text line. It's very, very shocking. I would say it is probably 60-40 Pacheco, but there is definitely a Kareem Hunt hive that is growing amongst Chiefs fans.
Oh, okay.
Which is very odd for a guy who's averaging 3.7 yards per carry, but
but the best thing about, I think, and you might even benefit from this more when Pacheco does come back, and let's say he takes over the majority, let's say it's a 65-35 split between carries, right? Well, now you have an even stronger option in short yardage and red zone and goal line situations with Kareem Hunt, whereas Pacheco could do everything in the middle of the field. He can be a much more reliable player to pop on first down when you want to sort of run between the tackles. He's a better option on stretches, pitches, tosses, maybe even counters to some degree. If his speed is normal to what we've been accustomed to coming off the fractured fibula. I know one of the things that people in the organization loved about Kareem was that, hey, when they did this workout, it was like, okay, he looks to be in good shape. And then you get into the practice and you're like, oh my God, his hands. That's right. We forgot. He could catch so well out of the backfield and then give you yards after the catch. They haven't used him a ton in the screen game, but that's always a possible avenue. I think Kareem, you could say right now, is a better receiving running back than Isaiah Pacheco. But I think in terms of where the offense was wanting to go when the season began, it still should be Pacheco's main job to have Kareem sort of come in and be a really good second option. I'm not gonna say that Chiefs fans are maybe in love with the reunion of Kareem Hunt, but he does score touchdowns in the red zone, and that's what you ask him to do. But I do think people forget how good Pacheco was in the postseason last year.
I just always think, and I make this point a lot about Brock Purdy. When you are a late round pick, I think people are just always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. That, Kareem Hunt got here, and I would say Kareem Hunt has been better than I expected.
For
now,
sure.
In some ways, it has been kind of what I expected. I mean, so I looked this up. We were curious. Pacheco had 34 carries and Kareem Hunt has 84 carries. They have the same number of carries that have gone more than 10 yards this season. Oof. You do not have any explosiveness with Kareem Hunt in your offense. Now, he is very reliable, very dependable, great in pass blocking. There are a lot of positive things.
Yes.
I think the best thing for Kareem Hunt whenever Isaiah Pacheco comes back is the carries that they were thinking about giving to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they are no longer giving those to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now you know who your number 2 running back is.
Yep.
You know who your number 3 running back is, and you also know who your Jerick McKinnon is. So their their running back room is far stronger than you thought it was going to be.
Yep.
But it is just very obvious who is the much more explosive back. And this offense, they still need explosiveness. There's not a lot of explosiveness in the pass game. And right now, just because of the kind of runner that Kareem is, they don't have a lot of explosiveness in the run game as well.
Yeah. I mean, last year, guys, he had a 48-yard touchdown against the Jets, which, again, pretty decent defense. Not great, but decent. I just want to remind people that in the postseason, Isaiah Pacheco had 89 yards in the most frigid conditions you could have against the Miami Dolphins. Now, you can say, Nate, Miami wasn't good. They were banged up. Sure, but they made the postseason. Well, the next week against the Buffalo Bills, he had 97 yards on 15 carries, along with 29, a touchdown. I mean, he had a touchdown in each of the 3 postseason games that you had to win to make it to the Super Bowl. Now, he struggled in the Super Bowl, which was a little bit odd just because he had shown
Her offense just kind of struggled.
Well,
in the Super Bowl,
Pat had to go, to another level. But against Baltimore, the best defense in the league last year, he had a touchdown and 68 really tough, grinded out yards when they knew you were running the ball, because the Chiefs they never trailed in that game. So those 68 yards are in some ways just as impressive as the 89 he had against the Miami Dolphins. I know we live in a world where we're just thinking about this season, but guys, their offense last year was Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Isaiah Pacheco, and that's it. And they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, Pacheco was doing fine, obviously, in training camp. It's unfortunate that he got hurt. He had 90 yards against the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, mostly when the Bengals knew they were running the ball because of the way the game script was going and Mahomes was struggling, throwing the foot. That's one of the few games where actually Mahomes, I think, struggled throughout much of the game was against the Bengals, which you can credit, I guess, to Lou Anarumo. But guys, he had a 4.7 yards per carry against the Bengals before he got hurt. The crazy thing about Kareem Hunt was he did give you a very vintage game against the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football, and he's been fine. He was really good in the red zone against the 49ers, and then he was fine against the Raiders. Nothing great, but obviously productive enough to where you could have true balance. But also, Carrington, when the Raiders knew you were running the ball because you had the lead throughout much of the game, he averaged 2.8 yards a carry. It's not great, and he's also not young from a running back standpoint. So again, the younger, more talented, better option more times than not is Isaiah Pacheco if he comes back from the injury and returns to form the way he should, based on how well he was playing in the offense during the postseason and the first 2 games of the season.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Nate Taylor. We'll do a little random question at the end of the hour. This is a little bit different week because the Chiefs don't play on Sunday. They play on Monday. So we'll kind of open it up to questions here coming up in just a bit. Let me ask you about the trade deadline, as the trade deadline is right around the corner. We have seen the Chiefs make 2 moves, 2 different kind of moves. You go pick up D-Hop, you go pick up Oche as a rotational piece.
Yep.
Are they done? Would you be surprised that you get a notification here coming up in 2 days that they have made a move to go get Darius Slayton? I think the left tackle conversation is probably over.
Yeah, come on, guys.
I mean, if they were going to get a left tackle, the answer was Cam Robinson.
Right.
That was the answer, was to go get Cam Robinson.
And they were kind of in on that, but
I mean, once I saw that his cap hit was $10 million, that was a very, very short conversation that the Chiefs were a part of.
Hey, y'all gonna eat any of that money?
No, yeah, that was it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go on about our day.
Yeah.
You know, we can't go get this guy that costs $800,000. Let's go get him on the other side of the ball. Let's go pick him up.
Exactly.
Are they going to be players over the next 3-4 days?
They might. I know that the text line, this was interesting because I haven't watched him this season because why would I? But I know the text line is pretty hot right now on Kendall Fuller. Love him as a human being. Still playing pretty well based on what Pro Football Focus says. You know, for a Dolphins team where their season is essentially over. Now, from a contract standpoint, not great because he has a pretty decent cap hit in 2025, where his base salary is almost $6.5 million. I mean, I think the more logical way they could be a player is at cornerback, so I understand why Kendall Fuller's name comes up. He's also played in the system before. You know, he can be both productive as a nickel cornerback or as like a third safety.
The Chiefs always like calling up that old thing, too. They love it. There's nothing more they love than going back to somebody they dated 3-4 years ago. They love just showing up at Thanksgiving like, bro, I remember you was with her. Yeah, man, we kind of worked things out. They love bringing that thing back.
So, I mean, again, I don't know what Miami would necessarily do. They actually get pretty good cap. One of the reasons I guess you would trade him is Miami gets pretty good cap relief if they do trade him, which is fascinating. But it doesn't help the Chiefs. So, cornerback seems the most likely. I think. I mean, even Andy Reid said today, like, hey guys, or this was yesterday. Hey guys, it's Wanye Morris until otherwise. And we'll just
his cap hit's not that bad. I'm looking a little bit more here.
We'll just live with the results.
Kendall Fuller, his contract's not that bad if that's what they want to do. Now they would have to do something for next season if they wanted to bring him back.
Yeah.
I mean, his cap hit the rest of the way is probably a little bit more than $1 million. His cap hit next year is $8.3 million. I'm telling you that the Chiefs are not paying Kendall Fuller a base salary of $6.4 million next year to play corner for the Chiefs. So I mean, if Miami's willing to eat some of that future money. Yeah, they could. The Chiefs, I could see the Chiefs being in on Kendall Fuller. That's the only way I could see them doing anything towards that, though.
Yeah, and you have to remember, too, because they're conditional, because of the trade with Tennessee, right now it's a 5th-round pick that can go to a 4th-round pick. So those two picks are sort of tied together. I guess you could use this year's 6th. I got to double-check this. Or you could say, hey, we'll do a pick swap. We'll give you a 6th for a 7th or whatever. But it's going to be a small
basically what the Ravens
trade.
did for Deontay Johnson.
Yes. Well, that's fascinating because Deontay Johnson apparently wants to be a Baltimore Raven, or he feels like he can maximize his value most in Baltimore instead of maybe playing somewhere else.
What wide receiver has ever thought I could increase my value of playing in the Ravens offense? Has something changed?
I'm just telling you.
I feel like
I'm just telling you what happened.
NFL. Can you give me an example? Can you give me an example of the last 15 years of a wide receiver that increased their value by going to play for the Baltimore Ravens? That doesn't even make sense to me.
Hey! I heard this week. I haven't double checked it, but I heard this week that Lamar Jackson's on pace to be a 4,000-yard quarterback this year.
Thank you to the welcome to the 21st century. He's going to pass for 4,000 yards. That's average now. 12 quarterbacks in the league are going to throw for 4,000 yards this year. We're celebrating Lamar doing that now?
And what this really tells you, too, is that Carolina is so bad at this. You had perhaps the best trade piece when all this started, right? When Devontae Adams basically told everybody, I'm out, guys. You should have traded him that day because the market was at its highest point, and maybe you could have gotten a 3rd-round pick for Deontay Johnson. Instead, you waited too long, and you let 3 guys go off the board, and then you're like, I mean, we got to send him somewhere. All right, well, let's send him to Baltimore. And
that's why I was shocked there was more teams not in on it, because if you look at it.
Well, the question then became is once the Chiefs made their decision with DeAndre Hopkins, they're done at the receiving standpoint, especially if you know Hollywood Brown might come back.
Yeah, because then all the other teams I think would really need a wide receiver are in their division. Like New Orleans could use a wide receiver. Also, Tampa Bay could use a receiver. I don't think Carolina's trading him to Tampa Bay.
Yes, and to Baltimore's credit, as much as I try to see it from their side of things, hey, man, you're not going to win in the postseason with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. You're just not. So there's a reason you lost to the Cleveland Browns. Lamar Jackson needs help, okay? Or he's got to go into like Superman mode and use his legs even more when we just realized this week, hey, dog, can I get another day off of practice? Like, you're taking 2 rest days in early November?
Got a long way to go.
That's not a good sign.
We got a long way to go.
So stop running for a couple weeks, Lamar. But also, we don't have any other receiver than Zay Flowers, so we do need a legitimate second option. So I understand from both Deontay Johnson's standpoint, hey, this is best solution I can go to. I need to get the hell out of Carolina because I kind of held him hostage for like a couple weeks on the trade market. So I know Lamar's a good quarterback. I know he's going to have to pass the ball. I'm going to be playing in bigger games. I'm going to be in the postseason most likely. And hey, if I have a great postseason, this is the best way for me to maximize my value when I was finally allowed to be traded somewhere. Because what's funny about this too is I think Deontay Johnson squashed his own trade value because, hey man, I ain't playing this week. Like I'm just nope. And they were like, well, are you going to practice? Hell no. And they're like, oh, damn. Well, if so, Baltimore.
I mean, they basically just gave him to the Ravens.
Yes!
Honestly, they really
Baltimore called and waited at the right time. It also helped that Baltimore just lost to Cleveland of all teams, and so yeah, it ended up working out well for Baltimore because they were patient and they still got a pretty good player who was very disgruntled and was never going to play another snap for the Carolina Panthers. So in the arms race that we are in the AFC, hey, Amari Cooper, we'll see. DeAndre Hopkins, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be great for the Chiefs. And Deontay Johnson at least gives Lamar more explosiveness and another option because what the Browns showed on Sunday was, hey, if we just contain Lamar and we double Zay Flowers, no one else can beat us other than please tackle Derrick Henry. So if you load the box and you double Zay, where is he going other than to try to create and make something happen? And then, of course, when receivers were open, Lamar missed them last week, which is also not great. But again, hey, if he needs a rest week, I guess he needs a rest week. But yeah, I think the Chiefs ultimately made a decision. Carolina didn't want to be a part of it, and they got the most experienced player who's ready to help a team over the top. Whereas the Deontay Johnson angle was, hey, if we can get him into our system, let him see what it's like. Maybe we can convince him to stay, while he's still in the prime of his career. That will be now Baltimore's task to do over the next 11 weeks.
I want you guys to text in some questions for Nate here, 913-586-7965. This is a little bit of a different week. This is usually when we'll preview the game, but I'm not really that interested in previewing a game on Friday that doesn't happen until Monday. It's a little bit different when it's on Sunday. So you guys send some questions in. I've got some more to ask them. I do want to kind of go rapid fire and give you guys an opportunity to get your questions. Someone has a question about Adam Thielen. There's also a couple other options of guys that could potentially be out there. We'll get your thoughts here. We're going to go rapid fire questions with Nate Taylor of The Athletic. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Well, we got a busy Saturday of college football and also with the pros, and there's no better place to catch up with all of the weekend football action than with my friends over at the other place. We also got basketball going on as well. So if you want to catch up with all your sports, also have a beer, also catch the game, the other place is the perfect place to do so. And they got great game day specials like a 14-inch two-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12, and a $4 domestic cup. It's the next best thing to being at the stadium with an incredible game day atmosphere. They also got brunch now. So be sure to stop by the other place at any of the Area 5 locations. It's your home for all things football.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. At Diamonds Direct, there's no gotcha clause, no fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Who else does this? There's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Buy with confidence. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
If you had the crystal ball, you wouldn't agonize over when to sell your home. You'd just ask, should I sell while my home's value is sky high, or wait and hope the bottom doesn't drop out of the housing market? The thing is, I'm not ready to move. You don't need a crystal ball with Truehold's Sell and Stay program. You can literally sell now and stay in your home as long as you like. When you sell your home to Truehold for its best current value, you can fully cash out your home's equity, and you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Truehold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance too. Truehold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get an offer now while your home's value is sky high, and use the money to secure your retirement, pay off bills, or finance your dreams. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out your home's current best value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads. Way fresher than detergent alone.
It takes a lot to prepare for game day as a dedicated fan, and preparing the perfect tailgate meal might be most important of all. That's why Hellman's Real Mayonnaise is the MVP. Hellman's Mayonnaise is the secret to bring out the rich and creamy taste to all your game day dishes, from buffalo chicken dip to your favorite sub sandwich and everything in between. So give it a try, and mayo game day be delicious with Hellman's Real Mayonnaise. Shop at your local Walmart, Kroger, or grocery store, and add some extra deliciousness to your game day dishes this football season.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Ah, sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Park and Go, your top choice for all covered airport parking. Kansas side, 435 northbound slows around Donahue, stays heavy up towards K5 with construction set up blocking 2 right lanes. Tackle your airport parking needs at Park and Go. Always the best service and always the best price. Open 24/7, fast and free shuttle services, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park and Go, family owned and operated. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to the Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Nate Taylor here. We're going to go rapid fire through some questions. We're going to get things going. My first question to you, Nate Taylor, is we have Lions and Packers on Sunday.
Yes.
You get to watch these games for the first. You usually got to work.
I know.
How dare the Chiefs just inconvenience your schedule like that? They don't consult with you
at all.
You know what? I like their schedule now. They play a lot of 325 games and games on Monday. You know what that means? 12 o'clock red zone, baby.
Let's go.
I love it. It's
yes.
great. So this week, I'm excited because I can give my full focus to Lions and Packers because I think that's the best game of the week. Who do you have winning that one?
Let me go Packers. It's in Lambeau. Jordan Love has been okay. Not great, but okay. If the Packers win, it makes the division really, really, it makes it a lot of fun. Now, if the Lions win, because they've been blowing everybody out lately, then that kind of, just reaffirms that they are the top team, at least right now in the NFC. Now, some people could say, well, what about, Philly? I understand Philly's 5-2 as well. But yeah, I hope the Packers win just because then it makes the rest of the season a real race, not only for the division, but man, you might go into a case where like whoever wins the next game, the rematch, can be the 1 seed and win the division, or you could be like playing on Super Wild Card Weekend, probably that Monday night game, where you're like, man, we won 12, 11 games and we ain't got no home playoff game. They're like, nah, you gotta go to Atlanta to play the Falcons or whatever. So I'm gonna pick the Packers just to make it fun. And if the Packers don't beat them, then yeah, the Lions are that team.
Text line 913-586-7965. We're going to go through rapid-fire questions to ask Nate here between now and the end of the hour. Are you a believer in the Denver Broncos?
No. Stop it. Stop it.
See, this is the thing.
I can't do this.
Because early in the week, I was getting killed for the Broncos' opinion is. I'm not telling you that I think the Broncos are good. But 7 teams have to make the postseason, and right now there's 8 teams that are over 500. You gotta like 7 teams in the AFC. You gotta like 7 teams.
Hey, Denver, it's been a hell of a ride. Your wins, their most impressive win, honestly, is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've beaten the Jets.
You might think I'm crazy. I think they get the Chiefs one of the 2 games.
Maybe on January 5th because the Chiefs don't need it. Because they will have already wrapped up the 1 or 2 seed. I think reality is going to come really fast.
Probably so.
I think reality is going to come because I do expect them to lose at Baltimore. I do expect them to lose next week to the Chiefs. I do expect them to lose the following week to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, their stretch will be right after that.
They get one of those teams you just mentioned.
Okay.
They get one of them.
Sure.
They get one of them.
Okay.
The NFL's just, how the NFL is. And every year, usually that team might be Pittsburgh this year, right? It might be Pittsburgh. But you and I both know every year there's a team that you look up and they're 9-8 or they're 10-7. You're sitting there like,
how?
That's the Broncos this year. That team you just described is the Broncos.
Hey.
They win 9 or 10 games and none of us can explain it. And next year, kind of like the Giants, 2 years ago.
Yeah, that is true.
And then next year, everybody picks against the Broncos to miss the playoffs next year. You've seen this story before.
Okay, here's how the Broncos can get to 4 more wins, which will give them 9 because they're 5-3 right now. They have a 4-game stretch against the Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals. Win 4 out of those 5 games, and you might be in the playoffs. God, what? It must be nice to have a 3rd place, 4th place schedule.
Text line 913-586-7965. Nate, who is the bigger disappointment? Is it the Jets or the Cowboys? Are either of those teams possible to turn things around?
No. The Jets are a more disappointing team just because I think Aaron Rodgers got older than we all realized. And I've been saying this for a while. Last night was a little different, but like their defense has been just as inconsistent as their offense. There's no way you should let Russell Wilson coming off the bench beat you the way he did the week before. So I think the Jets are a bigger disappointment because I felt like they could actually have competed in their division. Look at the Cowboys roster, guys. It's bad. They have like 4 to 5 really good players, and then the rest is just a lot of fluff. A lot of fluff, Carrington. I don't like. By the way, they didn't get anybody in free agency either. Ugh, this is. Yeah, the
and they
the
also
Cowboys
lost
disappoint me.
And they also lost their second best offensive player in Tony Pollard.
Yes. Yes, easily.
I was talking about this earlier this week. Somehow we treat rushing yards like they count for half of what passing and receiving yards are. It's just very weird to me. Like Tony Pollard was a very important offensive player for them that gave them great balance. And I think we all knew what the Cowboys' problem was going to be, that they were going to be incredibly one-dimensional. That's exactly what they've been.
Yes.
They can't run the football. They can't control the line of scrimmage. You're going to lose a lot in the National Football League if that's the case. Where are you at on C.J. Stroud? Rob thinks that the jig could possibly be up on C.J. Stroud. I think it's way more on the offensive line. That's not a team that can block or protect its quarterback. Someone on the text line says, is C.J. Stroud the most overrated quarterback in the league? I want to get your thoughts on C.J. Stroud.
No, he's not the most overrated quarterback in the league. He's very good. He's good, guys. It's okay. Every now and then you just have a bad game. It happens. Like, I mean, he was not good last night. But I also know too that their division is so bad that he's gonna help them win the division, and then they might win a playoff game, and then hey, we'll see what happens in the divisional round. But no, I don't think he's the most overrated quarterback. That's asinine.
If you had a vote for MVP at the midway point, who would you vote for?
Josh Allen.
Rob would vote for Jared Goff.
Why you do this to me?
That's what he said.
Why you do this to me?
Jared Goff be a good MVP.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I think Josh Allen's a
better player.
I think Josh Allen's a better player, but it's based on individual season, and Jared Goff so far has been a better individual season. Isn't that how the award works?
True. Now, again, to our point earlier, if they beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, okay, I'll back off. But right now, I would give it to Josh Allen because the highlights are intoxicating. I'm sorry. He's really good. Also, they went up to Seattle and just curb stomped them. It was crazy watching him last week. So I would say Josh Allen, but Jared Goff's very good. I can't criticize it. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't hate I'm on your side. I vote for Josh Allen as well. I don't hate the Jared Goff.
No.
I mean, if that team ends up being the 1 seed in the NFC, I think he's got a strong case. And if you look at the lines, Goff can change your opinion on whether or not you think you should play. I mean, this week they got the Lions game. They play Sunday Night Football next week against the Texans. They got the game on Thanksgiving. It's going to be one of the 5 most watched games of the regular season. There's a lot of spots for Jared Goff to enter the MVP conversation. I don't think he's at the forefront of it now, but he could be in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, he went to the Josh Allen point too. Like, they have played a common opponent against the Seahawks. My man went 18 for 18 and 2 touchdowns. It's nuts, man. So no, Jared Goff is playing out of his mind, and he's been one of the best stories of the last 2 seasons, really. Just the fact that he was kind of a tossle. He was just thrown into the trade, and now he's leading them to the NFC Championship game. And again, you could argue right now they're the best team in the NFC because he is playing so well, and that roster is so balanced. With a coach that's gotten better over time too, and Coach Campbell. So I get it. Man, they put 52 points on the Titans.
Easy too. It was an easy 52. Before I get you out of here, Nate Taylor, when does Christmas start? When in the Taylor household does Christmas start? Because we learned earlier today in the Britton household, today is the start of Christmas season. When does Christmas season start?
Is that because of the misses, Mr.
Tomorrow at 2:00 when Ohio State Penn State's over, tree's going up.
The tree?
Tree's going up.
Is it a fake tree?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was like, what?
He's about to have his home a pine tree for the next 55 days. That's
okay,
crazy.
hold on. I was about to be like, wow. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, we understand. In my household, Rob, I'm in the same predicament. Okay.
Christmas starts this weekend?
Christmas lights are going up tonight.
He was trying to go. No, I saw what you did there. You really tried to kind of shame Rob.
Yes, of course.
And then on the back end, y'all understood.
The outside lights, you could
the outside Christmas dog. He hung up our man hung him up 3 weeks ago.
Oh my goodness!
Because Holly was like, by the way, we're taking Hayden back. We're walking back home from trick or treating last night. He's in his little Harry Potter costume. Man, got all the candy in the world. And she was talking to some of the other parents in the neighborhood. oh yeah, they going up tomorrow. I said,
all right. All right. Have you voted yet? Because you can't have your tree up before you vote. What's going on?
Yes,
now?
I voted early. It was very smooth. Again, I would encourage everybody to do it. What you don't want to be doing is waking up on Tuesday morning being like, I gotta fight the Lord today to get in this line.
I went ahead and knocked that out today.
Yeah.
I wasn't dealing with it in a couple days.
No, that'd be hey. If you vote early, you did yourself a favor, because I remember I was in the line in 2016 and I was just like, it's not worth it. I mean, it is worth it, but golly. So I've gotten a lot better about early voting and expanding it, which I appreciate. But yeah, man, I voted last week? And yeah, this woman told me the Christmas lights are going up tonight. She really is. I told her, like, you really are Mariah Carey now. Like, as soon as Halloween's over, it's just
Christmas time.
All I want for Christmas is you. And it's just like, come on.
That is our guy, Nate Taylor, joining us in studio. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. Heading into downtown, 670 eastbound, pretty heavy from Wyoming Street, 71 northbound, still into downtown from 22nd Street. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown, and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter, only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 gives Missouri sports fans the freedom to bet on games too, and that will generate over $100 million for our schools. Amendment 2 is endorsed by the Chiefs, Cardinals, Royals, Blues, and Missouri's 2 biggest newspapers, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star. Here's Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith asking you to vote yes on 2.
Back in my day, I was the wizard of the infield. Now, I'm a grandfather. That's why I'm voting yes on Amendment 2. It means over $100 million for Missouri schools and teachers, and no more broken promises. There's a constitutional guarantee that the money goes to our schools, and legalizing sports betting is great for us fans too. That's why the Royals, Chiefs, Blues, and Cardinals all join me in saying yes on Amendment 2.
Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Get your holidays started with the perfect tree in your perfect style from the Home Depot. Whether you want something that you can assemble in a few clicks, steal the show with over 2,000 color-changing bulbs, or a tree with lights that can be controlled by remote or foot pedal. The Home Depot has it all in our huge assortment of premium trees. Plus, get free delivery on over 2 million items this holiday from the Home Depot. Subject to availability, see homedepot.com/delivery for details.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Chiefs football. KFNZ, FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, there is so much for us to get into. Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Thank you so much. It is The Drive. We have so much to discuss and talk about. You know what? Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. We won't spend too much time on it. I do want to talk a little bit of football. I want to talk about Houston. I want to talk about the Jets, the Chiefs. It kind of feels like a bye week, even though it's not a bye week and they play on Monday. It's always a little bit different when they play on Monday as opposed to playing on Sunday. Rob earlier today started playing Christmas music. Now, maybe I am just becoming old, and I just need to accept it. And I always say that old age is a blessing that not everybody gets to have. So you know what? I'm not complaining about getting old. But I'm starting to realize that my takes and my opinions are starting to change as I'm getting older. This is what I mean. When I was a kid, we had 12 days of Christmas. Christmas started on December 1st. Maybe you would turn on ABC Family and you would watch your favorite Christmas movies. You would listen to your favorite Christmas songs. You would get a good 3 weeks of Christmas. You know, you would look at the Best Buy ads or the GameStop ads or whatever store you like. Christmas is incredible. It's the best time of the year. Now, I don't know what's happened over the course of the last 4 or 5 years or so, but Christmas has now taken over the final 2 months of the year. We just start the second half of the year earlier. We used to didn't drink pumpkin spice flavored things in the end of August. No, that was an October thing. From October 1st until October 31st, go pumpkin crazy. When do we celebrate just regular old fall anymore? It's either we're getting ready for Halloween or we're getting ready for Christmas. When do we just celebrate the fall? Rob's already listening to Christmas music. Rob's telling me that he's putting his Christmas tree up this weekend. It hasn't even gotten cold yet. You're telling me that you're putting your Christmas tree up the same weekend as the American Royal? You don't think that we're pushing it just a little bit? Why does Christmas need 50 days for us to celebrate? Why does it need 55 days? Why does Christmas need to be a 6-week activity? Christmas is longer than the NBA playoffs. Christmas is longer than the baseball playoffs. It didn't used to be this way when we were kids. We got to get back to tradition. We got to get back to old school values. You want to know when Christmas starts? After the Cowboys game on Thanksgiving. That's when Christmas starts. Christmas starts after you leave the plaza on Thanksgiving night and they turn on the lights. That is the official start of Christmas. Not after you get done trick-or-treating. No, that's not how this works. You don't go from watching Scream to Elf on back-to-back days. There's some gaps, some time in the middle. We got to get back to celebrating Thanksgiving and just celebrating regular fall. That's what we got to get back to, regular fall. That's what I'm here to bring back. Bring back the old school, the 90s, the 2000s, when we used to celebrate this. Why are we doing this? Rob, you like Christmas music enough that you want 6 weeks of it? You want to hear Last Christmas I Gave You My Heart for the next 6 weeks? No.
I mean, you're going to hear it 500 times anyway. Might as well get it out the way. Here's the deal. Let's be honest about November. It's just in the way.
Oh, my goodness.
We have, as a society, been sitting on our hands from November 1st to 28th being like, man, I can't wait to celebrate Christmas. And it's just a churn. It's a waste of time. So you know what? Let's just fast forward, but we can't fast forward. That's not how society works. So let's just stretch the season and let's encompass a month that serves no purpose other than just to make it a second month of the Christmas season. I was adverse to this at first, but you know what? I have seen the error of my judgment. November 1, welcome to the holiday season.
Someone on the text line says, unfortunately, my family has already put our Christmas tree up. Somebody else says, we're putting our lights up and we're watching Die Hard tonight. What? I'm saying, you got 6 weeks of Christmas in you?
You know what those people are? Married.
You can't talk to me about how long the NBA season is if you're starting Christmas today. You can't talk to me about how long it is. I don't want to hear that baseball plays too many games if you're starting to celebrate Christmas on November 1st. I don't want to hear it from you. No.
We need 162 days of Christmas. We don't need 162 games of baseball.
It's too much.
What's 162? Let's do the math. 162 days, that's half a year. July 1st, July 5th, pop that tree up.
Text line 913-586-7965. You guys let me know where you are. I just want us to have a regular November. Now I feel like I'm the bad guy. Looking at the text line, I feel like I'm the bad guy here. I'm the bad guy for just trying to give us 1 month of Christmas. I'm cool with Christmas. I'm cool with treating Jesus' birthday like your wife's birthday. Your wife gets a whole month. That's fine. Hey, if you want to start celebrating Christmas on November 27th, have at it. Have all the Christmas you want. Put your tree up. Put the fake snow outside. Put Frosty up with the corncob pipe and a button nose. I'm all here for that. Why are we trying to extend the season? It's too much. I just want to say that it's too much. I can't do it. I won't be a part of this. Christmas does not start in my family until after the Cowboys game. That is when Christmas officially starts in my home.
I'll say this. That is spoken like someone who wanted to put outside lights up. Because let me tell you, the minute there's a crisp in the air, it's terrible to put outside lights up. So you know what? It's going to be like 70 in a few weeks. I think next weekend the high's like 65, and there's rain in the forecast this weekend. Next weekend, 65. That's a great time to get those lights up. May not have to turn them on, but I don't have to be bundled up 9 layers deep to put Christmas lights out. That is called forward thinking. And then flip them on like the 15th. Just get in the mood.
Let me just go ahead and get my other old person take out of the way here, and this one is actually sports related. So for those of you, the Let's Talk Sports person, I'm going to make sure you're happy too. I don't know if you guys saw what happened in the Jets game. I still don't know that gentleman's name. Who's that guy's name?
Malachi Corley.
Malachi Corley. I had never heard of that gentleman before yesterday, and I hope to never hear from him again. If you were watching the Jets game yesterday, and I kind of had one eye on the game, one eye on all the Halloween festivities, the Jets scored a touchdown. Wonderfully executed play. Little end around, little reverse, caught the Texans off guard. He went basically with the police escort to the end zone. He dropped the ball before he got to the end zone. Not like he got hit and fumbled the football. No, you know what I'm talking about. I'm about to score, but the ball is at my waist. I'm going to drop it and then celebrate I scored a touchdown. This is what I want Commissioner Roger Goodell to do. You know how we can suspend guys for conduct detrimental to the league? That's what we should suspend guys for. That's conduct detrimental to the league. You know how when people argue, what am I going to tell my kids and how you're setting a bad example? I can't think of a worse example to set to the future football players of America than you are about to score a touchdown in the NFL. But celebrating the touchdown is more important than anything to you, so you drop the ball as you are about to score. This counted and resulted in a touchback yesterday. So you went from scoring a touchdown to causing a turnover and giving the other team the ball on the 20-yard line. I'm telling you right now that Roger Goodell should start. If you do this, it is conduct detrimental to the league. This is the wrong example to send to children. There are kids that play high school football, that play college football, and we need to set a better example in the pros. Start finding them. $100,000 and or loss of a game check, and you're also suspended for the next game. I never want to watch another game in which this happens. I thought after we saw this 15 years ago, you would think that would be the lifelong lesson that these football players would need. Nope. They still keep doing it. I saw it happen in college football a couple of weeks ago. This is not me I don't want you to celebrate. Get in the end zone. And as long as you are not over the top or inappropriate, I don't care what you do. You want to go in there and you want to do the 1-2 step. You want to do the boot scooting boogie. Have at it. You want to go up there. You want to spike the ball and do the cabbage patch. I think the rules are a little too strict. If you want to use the pylon as a prop, sure, have at it. If you want to do a 360 windmill off the post, great, do it. Just hold on to the ball. That's all I'm asking people. I don't want to spend the entire 5 o'clock hour complaining, but it's a lot of nonsense going on. You're celebrating Christmas on the 1st of November, and guys are walking into the end zone without the football. It's a lot of nonsense going on, and we got to speak on it. All right, Rob, let's get to the hits.
It's 5 o'clock, and your wife has tuna casserole ready for you at home. Might as well get caught up on the biggest stories of the day in Kansas City with C-Dot and Rob. This is The Hits. Number 1.
Well, King, the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, now that we've gotten all the old man takes aside, Carrington, let's talk about...
Hold on. That second take is not an old man take. That's just a common sense football take.
You hate celebrations.
Text line is telling me that would have been his first career touchdown.
That's true.
It's nonsense. That's what it is.
Now that we're off the get off my lawn portion of the show.
Okay, that's fair. I can live with that. That's fair.
Let's talk about the actual game last night, Carrington. The fumble touchdown aside, the Jets still went out and beat the Houston Texans. Did last night show to you that the Houston Texans are not in the same weight class as the Chiefs, Bills, and Baltimore?
You know what? One, fade the music down for me. And I want some different music for this hit. I want something with a different tone. I want something with a sadder tone. I want something that is indicative of this take, of this stance that I have. Because you know what? Let's go ahead and bury the Houston Texans Super Bowl chances. Right now, let's do it. Let's come together. Let's gather around. Let's hold hands. And let's pay remembrance and respect to the Houston Texans Super Bowl chances. The team that I just watched on Thursday Night Football is not a Super Bowl team. They are fundamentally flawed. They can't block. They can't block. And if you can't block, it is going to be very, very difficult for you to potentially go on the road and beat Kansas City, or go on the road and potentially beat Baltimore or Buffalo. There are some fundamental problems with that team that are going to be the biggest reason of why they cannot win the Super Bowl. Did you guys know that C.J. Stroud has been the second most sacked quarterback in the league behind Deshaun Watson? So he will probably end up being the most sacked quarterback in the league. Did you also know that those sacks have resulted in minus 229 yards? Minus 229 yards. You cannot win that way with that many negative plays. You absolutely cannot do it. Houston is not a viable Super Bowl team. Now, can they win a weak division? Could they possibly beat Pittsburgh in the first round as a wild card opponent? Sure. That's possible. That, of course, it's definitely possible. Houston is not going on the road and beating any team that's good, not with that offensive line, not the one that I saw. So, Houston, I hope that you can accept that you're going to win 10, maybe 11 games. I hope that you accept that you will probably beat the Broncos or the Chargers at home in the wild card round on the ESPN game that they also telecast on Nickelodeon. You'll win that game. Sure, of course. That second round, when you play the real big dogs, the teams that can really win this thing, the teams that are going to go to New Orleans, that will not be you. You will not be a part of it. So I am here to go ahead and say our final word about the Houston Texans, that they have been eliminated from the Super Bowl conversation.
Number 2.
Carrington, moving from the pro game to the college game, we got one massive matchup on Saturday, which is kind of the best game of the whole wide weekend. But Ohio State heads to Happy Valley. It's Buckeyes and Nittany Lions. Who is this game more must win for, Carrington? Is it Ryan Day, who is never good in these games, or is it Penn State head coach James Franklin, who is somehow worse in these kind of games?
That's a great question. I'm going to say that this game is more important for Ryan Day just because the expectations are always greater at Ohio State than they are for Penn State. There is certainly more talent on Ohio State's side than there are on Penn State's side. I mean, Ohio State was coming into this as a national championship or bust, not playoff or bust. National championship or bust. If Penn State loses this game, the national conversation is going to be, well, that's what we thought. They're an underdog in the game. Penn State never wins this game. If Ohio State loses this game, we're going to start to have a very serious conversation about whether or not Ohio State is going to make the college football playoff. There's just not a lot of good games or good teams on their schedule, and they will have lost to the good ones. They lost to Oregon. They will have lost to Penn State. If you're telling me that your best win is a home win against Indiana, that's probably enough because you're Ohio State. But that resume for the Buckeyes starts to look real skimpy if they lose this Saturday to Penn State.
Number 3.
And really quickly, I mean, if you are Penn State, you're probably in with the win. It'd be very difficult to paint a scenario to me in which Penn State does not make the college football playoff if they beat Ohio State at home this weekend. So I know it doesn't say playoff game, but as we are heading into November, this absolutely feels like a playoff game in the Big Ten between two of the marquee brands, Ohio State and Penn State. I am actually taking Penn State to win this game. I'm taking them as a home dog. I think they've been the better of these two teams. I think they've been the more consistent team. I think this Penn State team is a little bit more explosive than some years past. I think they're better at quarterback, and it just feels like it's time. I've already envisioned it. A Penn State field storming after a thrilling win against a top 5 team. They finally get off the schneid, so to speak, and they get a big win. I think Penn State takes care of business at home.
It is rare that college football has 2 of the hits, Carrington, but that's the nature of the beast, and the Chiefs play on Monday Night Football. It is, like I said, outside of Ohio State, Penn State, kind of a dull weekend in college football, but you and I both know how the sport works. When you don't expect excitement, you get upsets of Palooza. What teams are you putting on upset alert for this weekend in college football?
That's a really good question. You can fade the music down, and we can make this the last hit. So let's look at it. Because there are 5 teams this weekend that are ranked and are going on the road to play an unranked opponent. So Ole Miss goes on the road to play Arkansas. Oregon goes on the road to play Michigan. Indiana goes on the road to play Michigan State. K-State, friends of the show, they go on the road to play Houston. Texas A&M goes on the road to play South Carolina. I am going to eliminate K-State from this conversation. I just don't think Houston's good. In fact, I think Houston is the worst home team out of the 5. I'm going to eliminate Houston. It would be one of the biggest upsets of the season, in my opinion, if Houston beats K-State this weekend. I think EMA advances. I think they take care of business and continue on for Farmageddon against Iowa State. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. I also don't think that Michigan can score enough to keep up with Oregon. Now, Oregon has played down to its competition, but they've kind of really started to hit their stride the last couple of weeks. I just don't see Michigan as a team that has absolutely no clue who their quarterback is. Donovan Edwards hasn't been nearly as good as we thought he was going to be. He's on the cover of the college football game. He's not even the starting running back at Michigan. He's the worst player they've ever put on the cover of the video game. So I just don't think Michigan scores enough to win this game. So I think Oregon wins. So to me, the question is between Ole Miss on the road at Arkansas, which would 100% eliminate them, Indiana on the road against Michigan State, and Texas A&M on the road against South Carolina. Now, maybe I am projecting my feelings on the A&M, but they feel like Southern Missouri. They feel like the team that has the expectations. You're going into this, you come off the big-time win, and you won the game that you weren't supposed to win, and you are going to lose the one you are supposed to win. Can't you see A&M coming off an emotional home win, one of their biggest home wins in quite some time, and they lose on the road at night to South Carolina? We've seen this A&M story way too many times over the last 10, 15 years or so. The A&M that I know loses this game 9 times out of 10, especially against a South Carolina team that's been kind of scrappy, that's been kind of pesky in this regular season. So if I had to rank it, I would say it's South Carolina 1 in terms of ability to pull off the upset. I'm just not believing that Indiana is going to be 10-0 by the time they play Ohio State. So I would put them as second on the road against Michigan State. And then I would say Ole Miss just because I think Ole Miss can score. So I'll give them a better chance of avoiding the upset. That's how I would rank it. I would say that Texas A&M is on upset alert, Indiana, and then I would have Arkansas pulling off the upset against Ole Miss.
I think that's probably what the breakdown is. I think me and you are on the same page. Man, it feels like – you said it earlier on the show. We talk about Mizzouing or the Chargers chargering, or remember Clemsoning was a thing for the longest
time. Yeah.
A&M is kind of in that
100%.
They all hang out at the same parties. They're in the same clique if this was high school. Those teams are all the Spider-Man meme, and we have not had that moment yet with A&M. Like, I wouldn't call losing Notre Dame on opening night that moment, because Notre Dame's a team that will probably finish 11-1, 10-2, and might make the college football playoff. But on the road against South Carolina after the biggest win of the season, a massive win against LSU with everyone pointing down the road to the rivalry renewed. It's Texas A&M. The whole college football world's going to have their eyes on that one. This feels like a massive letdown spot. Like, we had John Kurtz in the 3 Mile podcast on the show earlier today. Check it out on the podcast page. And he was talking about how the K-State game has the makings of not just on the field, what could be an upset, because coming off an emotional victory, bye week ahead of the Houston game, Houston stinks, letdown factor. A&M has a lot of those things. Emotional win against LSU, bye week on the horizon. Now, South Carolina is not nearly as bad as Houston, but that's when college kids slip up. Road games where you feel like the world is yours, that's when the L starts to happen. So I agree with you. A&M feels like it's ripe for the upset. And story old time. Coach pops off in the post-game press conference, has to eat crow the assuming week.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. We just watch way too much college football that if you and I made a 5-leg parlay and we just took the ranked teams who are all favored on the road against unranked opponents on the road, that parlay is not cashing. One of those 5 teams are losing. I don't think it's K-State. I don't think it's Oregon. Man, one of those other 3 teams are falling. Maybe 2 out of those 3 teams are falling. You just got to guess who that team is going to be. All right, let's take a little bit of a break here. Coming up on the other side, Greg Olson was on Ryan Russillo's podcast and discussing some of the quarterback issues in the National Football League now as we see Anthony Richardson get benched. We'll talk about that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
The NFL continues on, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Some of my favorite bets on FanDuel are, I like to take what I consider to be micro bets. You can bet on first quarter action. It gets you off to a good start, and it can increase your bankroll as the game progresses. I love who's going to get a first catch, first half, over, under. You can also make your favorite same-game parlays, or you can play some of the pre-built ones right there on the app, and there's always a fun boost to increase the action. All you need to do is visit the app. Check out FanDuel.com/CDOT to make every moment more this season. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help us your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help? Yeah, there are so many football games streaming this season. Can Xfinity Internet handle it? Oh, we know the game is only live once, so we built a network with all-pro speeds and low lag so you don't miss a snap. So I can yell, "He's open!" when he's actually open? Yeah, but the quarterback still can't hear you.
Switch to Xfinity Internet and TV and enjoy instant access to your favorite live sports with the Xfinity Stream app. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Streaming content limited to the U.S. Programming subject to change.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Sounds like wipers. If your wipers are streaking, skipping, chattering, or even worse, loud, you need to visit AutoZone and get some fresh new blades. We've got basic wipers to get you back on the road, as well as premium blades from Bosch and Rain-X. So if you're hearing this, just head to your nearest AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Does it hurt when you do even the most routine physical activity? Have they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Hey, it's Bob Fesco. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds, and QC Kinetics can get you there. You can have real lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. Discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is absolutely free. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your own body's healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritis pain. So call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. Call QC Kinetics today.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Join 96.5 The Fan and Bud Light for the Fans Football Show with Mitchell Schwartz or Sean Barber and Jay Binkley every Friday this football season starting at 6 at participating Buffalo Wild Wings locations. Enjoy $5 talls, prizes, and Chiefs gear. For a list of locations, go to 965thefan.com. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, 435 northbound heavy from Donahue up towards K5 with construction blocking 2 right lanes. Slowdowns on 29 southbound from Wacomas down past 169 highway. Slow into downtown on 670 eastbound from the state line. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into The Drive. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Very happy to be here. Someone on the text line says, C-Dot, I'm not taking your advice after saying take Houston on the money line. I didn't pick Houston yesterday on the money line. I said the smart play was the Jets. I didn't pick the Texans, did I, yesterday, Rob? I don't remember who I picked, but I don't think I picked the Texans yesterday.
We kept saying on the show, Vegas knows, Vegas knows, Vegas knows, Vegas knows.
Yeah, I didn't bet the game yesterday. The text line, I got to fight these allegations. I was not advocating to take Houston yesterday on the money line. I didn't take Houston or either team. I stayed away from it. I didn't touch it. I did take Devontae Adams to score the first touchdown, and got let down, but I didn't touch the money line yesterday, so I'm fighting. I'm trying to beat the charges here. I say enough wrong things. I'm not going to let you put wrong things on me here. No, officer, I did that. I didn't do that over there. I can't confess to that crime. I'm not taking a plea deal on that. All right, let me play what Greg Olsen had to say. Greg Olsen, I think he's the best color commentator in the NFL. Maybe I'm the only person that thinks that. I think Greg Olsen is really, really good. But he got demoted this past year. Makes sense. He lost his job to Tom Brady. That is not the first person to be able to say that. All right, so let me play what Greg Olsen had to say. He was on the Ryan Russillo podcast, and he was talking about the quarterback issue right now in the NFL.
There is no doubt we have a quarterback problem in the NFL. I think a lot of it's man-made. Asking your quarterback to stand in the shotgun, catch the ball, and play and throw the ball every down is virtually impossible in today's day and age. But these guys don't learn to get under center. They've never taken an under center snap in their lives. Their entire lives have been 7-on-7 football. It's been passing offense. I coach middle school football here at my kids' school. Of the 8 games we played, 6 of the teams never one time lined up under center, never one time had 2 backs in the backfield, and never one time had a tight end. The best teams, they get under center. It's play action. The reason they're doing that is because it takes the stress load off the quarterback. So I think there is a developmental problem in the whole pipeline of quarterbacks from high school to college and then, of course, to the NFL. We want the entire game to be on their shoulders, and then we get mad when they can't handle it at 22 years old. You can't tell me that these guys aren't wildly talented. They need to be coached. They need to be developed. I just don't think as a league in general we do a good job of that.
I think there's a couple of different reasons why. Maybe this will just continue my old man theme for the show. It is not surprising to me that quarterback development has become trickier for the NFL as the league has gotten further away from running the football. The league has also made it harder for you to develop your offensive line. It used to be some of the best things that you could give your quarterback was a good running game, a great offensive line, a capable tight end over the middle of the field, a security blanket. We've kind of gotten away from those things. So if you want your quarterback to drop back and throw it 30, 40 times, and you're not going to give him the infrastructure in place to do that, yeah, it's going to be a pretty steep learning curve. I also think what has happened, there are some prospects that come in and they've played a lot of college football, right? Caleb Williams played a lot of college football. But there have been a lot of guys over the course of the last 5 to 10 years who had 1 year as a starter. They were all right in that year, but they fit the measurables, so teams reach up and go grab them. Trey Lance threw less than 300 passes in college football and was drafted in the top 5. Anthony Richardson threw less than 500 passes in the SEC and was drafted in the top 5. You're talking about guys that just haven't played a lot of football, and now you are expecting these guys who haven't gotten a lot of reps and live action. Now you're going to get that learning experience in the National Football League. Well, yeah, you're going to see a pretty steep learning curve if that's the case. You're going to see some of the struggles that you've seen with some of the young quarterbacks. So I think there's a lot of different reasons. I don't think there's one reason on why we've seen the quarterback struggling to develop the way that we have in years past. But I would say it's the run game, offensive line. I also think that the coaching cycle just moves faster before. If you're Shane Steichen and you're the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, man, you don't have 4 or 5 seasons to try to develop Anthony Richardson. If you don't start winning by year 2 or certainly by year 3, the fans are asking for you to get replaced, and you're not going to get another opportunity to draft a quarterback. So you got to make the decision to bench Anthony Richardson to try to make the playoffs with Joe Flacco. Hey, we can continue some of this development behind closed doors, but we can't continue to try to give him those live reps. So I think we've just created a bad environment for some quarterbacks to work, and it takes a little bit of time. I have this opinion in the NBA. Because the players are younger when they enter the league, that we think a guy's washed and he's 21 years old. Wait, he would have been a junior in college now at this point. How are you ready to just throw this guy away? Maybe it takes a little bit of time. Maybe it takes 3-4 years for you to develop Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold or Ryan Tannehill or some of these other quarterbacks, Geno Smith. It just took a little bit of time for you to develop them. But because the coaching cycle and things move so fast that teams are just ready to throw these wide receivers away and then go burn and find another one, when you are leaving a lot of guys underdeveloped where you could have got something out of them if you had just shown a little bit of patience.
So I've been thinking about that take from Greg Olsen for a lot of the day. And I'm going to join you in an old man take here. And that's fine. That's the theme of the show today. It's an old man Friday on the drive. He made the point that we are letting the kids down the development of middle school, high school, college. I think your point about training camp being less physical than ever is so spot on, because I would tell you college practices are probably less physical than ever. I would tell you college spring football, college fall camp is probably less physical than ever. I'm betting, I don't know, I don't go watch a lot of high school football, but if we polled offensive coaches of high school football teams, they would say, compared to 10, 15 years ago, offensive line play is less physical in practice than it was 10, 15 years ago. So when the offensive play and the physicality of practice has been down for their entire development, you know what we've done to cut corners? We've gone all shotgun. And because we've gone all shotgun, we've made it difficult on the quarterbacks. But I think that's a product of the physicality point you made. Offensive line is not developed the same way. So by the time a guy gets to training camp in the NFL, he has been through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of less physical offensive line practice. And you cannot simulate offensive or defensive line play without physicality. So when there's less physicality in practice at all levels, we now have to cut corners because you start to see it in games. You see more finesse O-linemen. And to cut corners, we stop going under center. So I wonder if this shotgun point that he made is a product of the fact that you just can't get in the trenches and teach offensive line play the same way you could 10, 15 years ago. So you have to go more shotgun, and it's detrimental to almost everyone except wide receivers who are seeing a boom in pay.
Someone on the text line says, CDOT, with that theory, isn't that what we're doing with Sky Moore? I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I would argue with Sky Moore, I haven't really seen much of a flash or a reason to think that he can be a capable wide receiver in the league. I also think wide receiver is just a little bit different in terms of like how you process information, how difficult it is to kind of come in and start. I mean, I've never held Sky Moore to certain, like, he's just not a helpful player at this point. Like, my biggest issue with Sky Moore is I just don't know what his positives are. Is he a guy that you want to get a lot of volume to? Is he a guy that you want to use in the run game? Like, what is his role on this team? So I certainly understand the question, but I just think we've seen enough of Sky Moore. This is now year 3 of Sky Moore. I just don't think he's a very good NFL player. Like even back in the day, there used to be guys who were bust. You know, I just think Sky Moore is he is an old school, traditional, he is a bust. You know what that guy looks like. You didn't need to see too much Snoop Menace to know, yeah, it's not going to work out. You didn't need to see too much John Baldwin to realize, yeah, man, that's not going to work out. That's what I think Sky Moore is. I think he's old. I think he's a throwback bust. That's what I think he is. It's an old school, he's not going to help you. Sky Moore's going to be out of the league in a couple of years. He's not a consistent NFL player. And at that position where there's so many of those guys and the new crop coming in every year is as talented, it's hard. It's getting harder and harder to keep those wide receiver jobs if you're a veteran like him and you are not producing at a pretty decent level. You also can't trust him on special teams either. You don't want him doing your kick or your punt returns. He can't catch. Coming up on the other side, Rob, let's do a 6-pack for Sunday as we get ready for the NFL. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Well, we got a busy Saturday of college football and also with the pros, and there's no better place to catch up with all of the weekend football action than with my friends over at the other place. We also got basketball going on as well. So if you want to catch up with all your sports, also have a beer, also catch the game, the other place is the perfect place to do so. And they got great game day specials like a 14-inch two-topping pizza for $12, 8 wings and a basket of tots for $12, and a $4 domestic cup. It's the next best thing to being at the stadium with an incredible game day atmosphere. They also got brunch now. So be sure to stop by the other place at any of the Area 5 locations. It's your home for all things football.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 50 Highway and Chipman Road in Lee Summit on Friday, November 1st. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. For more details, go to 965thefan.com.
Creed. Are You Ready Tour with very special guests, 3 Doors Down and Mammoth WVH. This Wednesday night, T-Mobile Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with 3 Doors Down and Mammoth WVH on the Are You Ready Tour.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, the rock holiday tradition returns. Saturday, December 7th, 2 shows, T-Mobile Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Bring the whole family to the all-new show. Soaring guitars, dazzling lasers, and enough pyro to keep you warm all season. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra live in concert.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction. But one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other. And for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking about good sex with the ability to enjoy intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might find you're performing like you haven't in years. At Heartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you can get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of another year counting down. Another year missing your revenue goal. Another year wondering why your marketing isn't more effective. Another year worried about next year. The clock is ticking, but you still have time. Time to contact the experts at Scale Marketing. Scale Marketing is a full-service marketing agency who is expert in lead generation and revenue growth. How expert? Our clients see an average of 20% growth in the first year alone, with sustained growth from there. It's all part of our process. From your traditional marketing to social media to paid search, we'll take a forensic approach, digging deep to find the root problems in your marketing strategy. Then we'll fix them fast. At Scale Marketing, we can't stop the clock, but we can change your company's future. Find out how you can make your marketing budget work harder and drive more revenue. Contact us at scalemarketing.com. That's scalemarketing.com.
Tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti to hear the Sims Spotlight featuring Super Bowl winning quarterback Phil Simms. Brought to you by Balance of Nature. Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Brought to you by Metro Ford, online at kcmetroford.com. On the Kansas side in Olathe, 35 northbound starts to slow around Santa Fe. Gets pretty heavy before 119th Street and just off again on again heavy up towards 435 with multiple accidents reporting. Want more from your dealership? At Metro Ford, every new vehicle comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Family owned, just 10 minutes from downtown and packed with unbeatable value. Drive smarter, only at Metro Ford. Online at kcmetroford.com. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very happy to be here with you as we close things down here on a wonderful, wonderful Friday. Rob, it's funny because I don't think this is actually a great week of college football. I think there's a couple of good games. There's a game here, there's a game there. I don't think that this is a great weekend of college football. But usually when people like you and I say that, there ends up being 3 or 4 just wild things that end up happening that make it a really fun, interesting Saturday of college football action. So we get a big game at 11 o'clock. And then after that, I think it's going to be kind of hit or miss, and you're going to have to pick your spots with what you think is going to be a good college football weekend. But that's what we have going on. Missouri is on a bye. KU is on a bye. K-State, they play Houston. It feels like they have a bye week. So, and the Chiefs also don't play this weekend. They play on Monday. So this is a little bit of a different kind of football weekend than we are accustomed to. But don't worry, we still have important weeks here to get to. All right, Rob, let's do this. Let's get through some of the top games on Sunday, as a lot of you are still going to be watching football, just not watching the Chiefs this weekend.
All right, Carrington, let's start with the game of the weekend. Start strong. It is 3:25 Fox. Lions and Packers. That is probably the best game of any sport over the weekend. Can the Lions assert themselves the team I believe they already are and dominate and become the team in the NFC? Or do Jordan Love and co trip up Jared Goff and Lambeau?
That's a really good question, because I took the Packers earlier in the season when they were a slight favorite at home against the Vikings, and they lost that game. I will say, if you are the Packers and you lose this game and you lost already to the Vikings at home, and if you lose to the Lions at home, you can go ahead and kiss your opportunity of winning that division out of here. You are not winning your division if you drop both home games to the other two teams that you are fighting with. I feel like the Lions are the right side to be on because I do think they're the better team, but you know that I liked Green Bay at the very beginning of the season. I'm torn here. I'm going to take Green Bay to take care of business at home against the Lions, but I don't feel good about it.
A game I didn't think I'd bring up in the Sunday six-pack, but alas, here we sit. Some news came across earlier today. T. Higgins and Orlando Brown Jr. doubtful for their game against the Raiders. I'm not going to ask about the actual game, but Carrington, if the Bengals lose this one, is their championship window closed?
Who's championship? I'm sorry, I misheard what you said.
I'm going to say, with no T. Higgins, Orlando Brown Jr. potentially this weekend.
The Bengals? That's what I was confused. You said first you said T. Higgins, then you said championship window. It threw me out.
I mean, the Bengals were a popular
have
pick.
A championship window? They're under 500. When was the last time the Bengals were over 500 as a team? Can we say you're in a championship window if you lost to the New England Patriots to kick off the season and you're 3-5? The Bengals wins are Carolina, the Giants, and Cleveland with Jameis Winston. What championship window? They stink. That's why you threw me off. I was confused for a second. I thought I was listening. I thought I heard you. And you said T. Higgins in championship. I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. I was disoriented.
We're going to look back at that Bengals run and be like, how did that happen?
It was a great run.
Great. Seems relative, but
they went to 2 AFC championship games and went to the Super Bowl. They had a great run. I mean, they were up. They were up with 2 minutes to go in the Super Bowl. It was all right. Then Eli Apple happened.
Man, it's peak Bengals. How many times have they been up in the Super Bowl and lost? Basically every time against the Niners?
No, yeah, basically. That was basically the 80s.
Mm-hmm. All right, Carrington staying in the division for both the Bengals and Chiefs. Broncos and Ravens this weekend, noon on CBS in Baltimore. I believe it was Good Morning Football was talking about how the Broncos can, with a win, show they are legitimate. Or do you believe the Ravens are going to reassert themselves into the championship conversation and dominate the Broncos?
That's a good question. I like the Broncos maybe a little bit more than other people like the Broncos. I do think their defense has been fairly consistent. I think that Sean Payne is getting Bo Nix to grow. I mean, he won Offensive Rookie of the Month, which kind of surprises me. I honestly was a little bit surprised that Bo Nix ended up winning that award the way that he did. I do think the Ravens are they've already had enough slip-ups. I don't think you have 3 or 4 of those over the course of the year, so maybe last week was enough to kind of get them back on track and get them on the right path. I am going to take the Ravens to win against the Broncos. This is actually a really important stretch for the Broncos if you take a closer look at their schedule and kind of where they are. So they have on the road against Baltimore, on the road against Kansas City, and Atlanta in each of the next 3 weeks. That's a tough stretch. That's one of the tougher stretches in the league you could have right now.
I know you're on the Ravens, but does 9.5 seem like way too big of a spread considering all the things about those two games? Like,
I agree.
I know Nate Taylor told us earlier he's out on the Broncos. He laughed at the idea of being in on the Broncos. 9.5 is what happens when the Chiefs play the Panthers, not when 2, 5, and 3 teams play.
Yeah, I mean, that really goes to show you how Vegas feels about Bo Nix. That's the conversation, is that they think the kid stinks. 9.5 is a big number.
That is why we did our Friday parlay. I put the Broncos plus 9. The number's too big.
Big number. No, I agree.
The earlier you can get it, the better. Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, Carrington, surprising, sneaky good matchup at 3 o'clock on CBS. Bears and division-leading Cardinals. You were in on the Bears preseason.
I was.
They had the loss of the year last weekend. Like, coaching malpractice.
I was happy. I had the Commanders -1.
Coaching malpractice, a corner taunting the crowd.
Pumped.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for the Bears. Do we see a cumulative effect and they head to the desert, or do they get things right against the division-leading Murray & Co.?
You know what? I think the Bears win this game. If there is any team that focus and attention to detail should have been at the absolute highest this past weekend, wasn't it that team? I mean, we just saw how good you guys could be. You went on the road and you were about to beat the Washington Commanders, and the Hail Maryland happened against you. Replicate that this week, and let's play a full 60 minutes. If there's any team that I think gets back refocused and gets back going, I think it's them. I think the Bears go on the road, and I think they win this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals.
All right, Carrington, pivoting to Sunday Night Football. Minneapolis suddenly has a new left tackle in Cam Robinson, but that is not the story. The Colts are headed to the Minneapolis with a new quarterback in tow. They were a team that you were in on preseason. They are 4-4 and very alive in the AFC playoff picture. Does Joe Flacco get the boys right, or does it keep taking on water against Sam Darnold and the Vikings?
That's a great question. You know what? I'm going to take Minnesota here. I'm going to take Minnesota. I'm on the fence because I do think the Colts are better. I think the Colts are a much more balanced team with Joe Flacco at quarterback. I'm going to take Minnesota. I think the NFC North is it's a very, very compelling division, and we're going to get a lot more clarity about it this weekend as the Lions and the Packers play each other. I had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you guys had a lot of fun today. We will be back on Monday, wall-to-wall Chiefs and Bucks, getting you ready for Monday Night Football right here in Kansas City. All right, I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. Don't put your Christmas stuff up. And
go ahead and knock that out. Good weekend to do it. Nothing but time.
You know what? I'm going to let Daniel Craig take you home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5